Chapter 740. The water in the pond was like jade, steaming in the sun. Everyone was panicking. Last night, the stars were sparse and the moon was bright. An order was issued to the winged cavalry to travel together. For the sake of his brothers and sisters, Zhang Xiaobao temporarily put aside other things and ordered people to carry a basket of cicadas back to make snacks. He cut out the meat, soaked it in hot water, and then steamed it in a pot. After steaming for a while, he changed the pot. There were different things in the water in each pot. After steaming, he didn't put them in the sun or roasted them. He put them in a cool place and blew them with a fan. When they were half dry, he stir-fried them. After working until midnight, he finally finished making snacks for the cicadas. He asked people to send them to Xiao Bei and the others so that they could eat them early the next morning. "You're really my sister." I counted. You put in a total of 42 kinds of seasonings, including walnuts, fruit pulp, abalone, raisins, and so on. After taking them out of the pot, you picked out everything else and only left the cicadas. "Are you tired?" Wanwan was reading a book while Zhang Xiaobao was making snacks. When she saw Zhang Xiaobao wiping his sweat, she said, "It's okay. It's late. Let's sleep." Zhang Xiaobao was indeed exhausted. That was 5 kilograms of meat. He didn't want to use a big pot to cook it, so he only used a small spoon and a small pot. He steamed it back and forth many times because the temperature of the small pot was easy to control. Wanwan closed the book. "You're done. It's time to talk about business. What about Li Linfu? Should we let him stay for another day?" "Yes. If we don't, it will be inconvenient for Zhang Shua to make a move. Li Linfu is not an ordinary person. Cui Ri knows that he can't beat him. If we delay him for another day, it will probably be done over there." As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he passed a plate of cicadas to Wang Wan. Wang Wan took one and threw it into her mouth. She tasted it carefully and said, "It's really good. It seems that you can achieve a breakthrough by using your skills on your brothers and sisters. Where are you going? Let's take a bath." It was late. Li Linfu, who couldn't sleep, pushed open the window in the courtyard of Fengwu Pavilion. He looked at the moon that was almost full outside and was still thinking about what he saw during the day. It would be a lie to say that he wasn't touched. What was the purpose of being an official? Some wanted to use their abilities so that they wouldn't be buried, some wanted to make money, and even more wanted to be recognized by the people in the imperial court. Local officials were recognized by the people, and that was also recognized by the imperial court. In the past, he had always heard that when Zhang Zhong left his post, the common people would empty the streets and send him off in tears. He had never seen such a scene before. Today, he finally saw it with his own eyes. It was enough to be an official. I wonder how Feng Changgong is doing in Xiankai County. I hope they are smart enough to not go against Cui Riji. Li Linfu thought as he reached for the teapot beside him. He poured himself a cup of water and drank it. He frowned, thinking that it was not as good as the tea served at the local yamen. He forced himself to swallow it, then turned around and held the proposal Zhang Xiaobao had given him in his hand. He read it under the flickering light. When the clock struck again, it was already 1 in the morning. He pushed open the door and ordered, "Men, return to Xiankai County tonight. Stop anyone who tries to approach Feng Changgong's room." Someone in the opposite room responded. By the time Li Linfu turned around and closed the door, someone had already left. "Feng Changgong. Oh, Feng Changgong, you've got me into trouble. I really want you to see this incomplete proposal so that you know who you've offended." Li Linfu flipped to the last page of the proposal and memorized it. He lay on the couch and looked at the moon as he muttered to himself. The person who had just left the room came to the stable and found his horse. He flipped onto the horse and held the reins in his hand. He clamped his legs together and leaped out. Anxious, he was preparing to rush back to Xiankai County at night when there was no one on the streets. Who would have thought that after running for 100 steps, he would hear someone shouting in front of him? Who was riding a horse at night? "Men, take him down." Following the voice, torches lit up in front of him. Looking over, he saw a row of yamen runners holding water and fire sticks blocking the way. "I am Lord Li's subordinate from Xiankai County. I have urgent matters to attend to in the county. Please make way." Wei Wei slowed down and shouted at the yamen runners. "Do you think I am just because you say so? I can also say that you're a criminal. Come down first, and then we'll talk. Trip the horse. The yamen runner didn't seem to have any intention of bending the rules. He shouted, and someone pulled the rope from behind. Seeing this, the person on the horse sighed helplessly and stopped the horse. He flipped over and wanted the yamen runner to see his face clearly. Who would have thought that as soon as he landed, someone would cover his head with a sack? Then, someone used a rope to choke his mouth. Catch the criminal. Bring him back for interrogation. After the yamen runner said this, Li Linfu was tied up and carried away. The horse was also taken away. At dawn the next day, Li Linfu, who thought that nothing would happen in Xiankai County for a day or two, got up and washed up. He hurriedly ate breakfast and was about to go to the yamen to find Zhang Xiaobao when Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan arrived first. Lord Li, were you comfortable in your new place last night? Zhang Xiaobao asked with a smile as soon as he saw Li Linfu. Li Linfu also smiled. Not bad. The Fengwu Pavilion is really good. I heard that Registrar Zhang's sister was injured and was about to visit when Registrar Zhang came personally. It was really abrupt. Children can't stay still. They only behave when they cause trouble. It's no big deal. It's just a small injury. Don't worry about it. It'll be good for them to remember. Zhang Xiaobao, who had been busy with his younger siblings until midnight last night, didn't seem to care at all. Li Linfu wanted to give him some money, but suddenly remembered that he only had less than 100 copper coins on him. He couldn't take it out and could only say awkwardly, I came in a hurry and didn't bring a gift. I'll make it up next time. I'll definitely make it up. It's just a small matter. Lord Li, please take a look. This is the proposal for the cooperation between the two counties. If there are any omissions, I hope Lord Li can fill in a little. Zhang Xiaobao didn't expect Li Linfu to give him anything good. If he only gave some money, it wouldn't be as good as the cicadas the children gave him yesterday. He signaled Wang Wan to take out the proposal and handed it to Li Linfu for him to read. Li Linfu had been waiting for the proposal. Otherwise, he wouldn't have stayed. He happily received the proposal and read it one by one. After reading a few proposals, he suddenly stopped and asked Zhang Xiaobao, why do you want people to plant 3 rows of willow trees by the river? Do you want to use the willow trees to make furniture? 3 rows of willow trees will take up a lot of land, even if it's by the river. What Li Linfu meant was to make sofas, tea tables, and other things. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family's furniture was famous for being good. There are additions at the back. First, protect the dike. If there is a rainy season, in order to prevent the flood from destroying the dike, plant more weeping willow trees to strengthen the dike. Secondly, it will allow the cicadas to find more places to live. Cicadas are not only delicious and nutritious, but can also be used to make medicine. Last night, when I made snacks for Xiao Bei and the others, I felt that the cicadas were delicious. Cuckoo, please let Lord Li have a taste. Zhang Xiaobao explained his proposal. In fact, it was at the back of the proposal, but Li Linfu hadn't seen it yet. Wang Wan took out a paper bag from her bag and opened it for Li Linfu to eat. The translucent meat of the cicada looked very pleasing to the eye. Li Linfu picked one up and put it in his mouth. He smacked his lips twice and grabbed a few more. He kept eating, thinking that he couldn't blame He Yiwei and the 2 people from Shangyo village for eating until they were full. This Zhang Xiaobao's cooking was indeed extraordinary. The taste was fresh, but not fishy, supple, but not salty, tough, but not bitter, sweet, but not greasy. After eating one, he wanted to eat a second one. To be able to make this kind of food for Xiao Bei, he must have put in a lot of effort. Just like this, his indifferent appearance just now was exposed. Li Linfu didn't say anything. Seeing that Wang Wan was still holding the paper bag, he took it all. I'll eat it myself. Zhang Xiaobao, I didn't expect that your method is really not simple. I see cicadas everywhere. Don't tell me you want to plant more trees for them? Zhang Xiaobao saw that Li Linfu had snatched the bag away and disdained him. He said, times have changed. Today, cicadas are caught by children to eat. Adults usually don't eat them, just like silkworms. But in the future, there will be a special way to make cicadas. When that time comes, everyone will catch cicadas and every household will eat them. Not stopping for 1 year, not stopping for 2 years, not stopping for 3 to 5 years, not stopping for generations. Huh. Henceforth, the descendants can only learn about it from books. Their ancestors had a food that was delicious and could be used to make medicine. It was known. Today, no one knows about it, but it can be seen in paintings. This official has learned. Li Linfu understood. Zhang Xiaobao was afraid that the method to make cicadas would be spread out. When the time came, everyone would go and catch them. If all the cicadas were caught, the descendants wouldn't be able to see it. They would only know about it from paintings and books. Even if this was over, they should plant more cicadas and provide them with a place to live. Then he looked down and asked humbly if there was anything he didn't understand. Zhang Xiaobao's 2 sets of plans were not a lie. He didn't want to use a fake plan to deal with Li Linfu. That would be sacrificing the interests of the people. He couldn't do it. Wang Wan didn't say anything. She took out a small bag of cicadas and started to chew. When the plan was finished, it was almost noon. Li Linfu invited, "Why don't Registrar Zhang and Deputy Wang eat here?" "That won't do. Xiao Bei is still waiting to eat. I have to go back. Officially should go back with the 2 of us. After taking care of Xiao Bei, we can talk about it while eating. What do you think?" Zhang Xiaobao very straightforwardly refused. "Great." Li Linfu agreed. The 3 of them walked to the yamen together. Li Linfu had finished his cicadas. Looking at Wang Wan eating there, he wanted to ask for more, but was too embarrassed to ask. He could only swallow his saliva secretly. The 3 of them arrived at the back of the yamen. Before they entered, the door was opened. When the servant of the Zhang family saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, he was stunned at first. Then he said happily, "Little young master, little miss, you 2 came back at the right time. There's an official in the capital on a fast horse. He said that he wants you 2 to go to the capital immediately. Do you know when?" Zhang Xiaobao was puzzled. Why did he and Wang want to go to the capital at this time? Moreover, they took the official route. Did something happen to his family? Replied a little young master, "I have asked. He said that the emperor is going to travel and wants you 2 to discuss it." The servant replied. Chapter 741. Thank you all for voting. Thank you so much. The title of the previous chapter was wrong. It was Chapter 345. Li Longji wanted to go out and play, so he didn't forget to call Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan along. According to Wang Wan, Li Longji didn't really want them to pay for the trip. He just wanted them to follow him and see if they could come up with ideas when they arrived at Jinyang. Because of the sudden event, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't have much time to plan. Li Longji, who was supposed to leave in the 1st month of this year, decided to leave in the 8th month when the weather was the hottest. It was already the end of the 6th month, so it was impossible to take a leisurely stroll to the destination. Zhang Xiaobao, who wanted to tell Li Linfu more details, had no choice but to quickly finish his meal. He excused himself from Li Linfu and sent him out. Li Linfu was envious. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were already so far away, but the emperor still remembered them and sent someone to deliver the decree. People like this who had a place in the emperor's heart would have limitless prospects in the future. After taking the proposal, Li Linfu was about to leave Baoxing County. Just as he was about to leave, the person he sent out last night was sent back by the county's bailiffs. The bailiff explained, "Last night, someone rode a horse in the middle of the night. We suspected that he was a criminal. After we caught him, the criminal arrogantly said that he was Lord Li's man. We thought that Lord Li wouldn't have such an arrogant servant, so we didn't believe him and planned to lock him up first. We were afraid that we would disturb Lord Li's rest in the middle of the night, so we didn't come to ask. Today, we carefully asked him again and felt that he wasn't lying. There were many things that matched up, so we sent him here for Lord Li to see. If we caught the wrong person, please forgive us." Li Linfu's heart skipped a beat when he saw that the servant, who should have returned to Xinsai County last night, was still in Baoxing County. He looked at the servant, who didn't suffer much but had a helpless expression. He sighed and said to the bailiff, "That's right. That's right, it's my subordinate. I didn't expect him to ride a horse in the middle of the night and be so arrogant. You caught him well. Let him remember this and quickly return to the team." The latter part of the sentence was directed at one of his subordinates. This person originally wanted to argue a little, but when he saw his master give him a meaningful look he could only lower his head and enter the group. The Yamen runners also went about their own business. Seeing the bailiffs leave, the person who was caught said to Li Linfu, "Sir, they're talking nonsense. Last night I know. They didn't ask you carefully at all. They just wanted to catch you. It's not your fault. Feng Changgong is finished. I don't know if I can see him when I go back today." Li Linfu didn't need his subordinates to finish speaking to know what was going on. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan deliberately delayed him so that they could free up their hands to deal with Feng Changgong, who had begun to act foolishly. They could only depend on their luck. After giving the order, the team sped up, wanting to return as soon as possible to check on the situation. Feng Changgong, who was being targeted by Li Linfu, had already been arrested. His eyes were blindfolded and his mouth was gagged. He was put into a carriage and was driven to the capital. The county magistrate was also arrested at the same time. The registrar took out a token at the crucial moment and escaped the calamity. Woo. Feng Changgong, who was tied up, was lying in the carriage. When he saw that there was no one guarding the carriage, he twisted his body with all his strength and moved to the side of the county magistrate. He was making sounds from his mouth. The county magistrate was also thinking of ways to get rid of the rope. Together, the two of them finally bumped into each other. They rubbed against each other and broke the rope used to block the cloth around their mouths. After panting for a while, the two of them felt a little better. "Quick, think of a way to break the rope on our bodies. We will take the opportunity to escape. Once we are detained in the capital, we will be finished." Feng Changgong continued to twist his body and ordered the county magistrate. The county magistrate, who was supposed to cooperate with him, didn't move this time. He lay in the carriage weakly and advised Feng Changgong, "Sir, it's better to stay here. If we go back like this, we may not be killed. At most, we'll be exiled. If we really break the rope and leave the carriage, we may be caught again, and they will say that we escaped because we were afraid of being punished." The county magistrate was very clear-headed at this moment. Unlike Feng Changgong, who still had a fluke mentality, since he was caught in the early morning, he understood that this time he didn't need to count on others to help them. Sir Li, who was supposed to be able to protect them, went to Baoxin County and didn't come back yet. He probably couldn't help much. If he wanted to blame someone, he should blame Feng Changgong. He should have gone to Baoxin County himself, but who knew that he still didn't give up and prepare to make the last fight? Otherwise, how could Sir Li go there personally to ask for mercy? The more he thought about it, the more the county magistrate hated Feng Changgong. If it wasn't for him, he wouldn't have become what he was today. After saying his sentence, he closed his eyes and felt the bumpy carriage, wanting to sleep. Feng Changgong still didn't want to give up, so he said to the county magistrate, "You have to think carefully. If you don't run this time, you won't have a chance to run in the future." Now, most of the people who are escorting us are the government runners in the county. Once they meet with the people sent from the capital, they will be more strict. "My Sir Feng, please don't hurt me anymore. I still have my family." Run? Where can I run? Even if the government runners in the county really listen to you, there are still people watching over us. At that time, the wanted poster will fall on my head. If I am caught again, it won't be as simple as being exiled. The county magistrate said to Feng Changgong with dissatisfaction. Right now, he really hoped that Feng Changgong wouldn't be able to breathe and suffocate to death so that he could vent his anger. Feng Changgong sighed and turned around. Looking at the roof of the carriage, he said, "When we get to the capital, you can't betray me." Now, let's compare our testimonies and say that we were also tricked by the dream-chasing Taoist. Of course, that's right. In order to not listen to Feng Changgong's nonsense, the county magistrate nodded and agreed. As for whether he could really say the same thing as Feng Changgong and not betray him, it was not clear. Outside the carriage, the people sent by Cui Riji had actually heard the movement in the carriage. When they heard that the county magistrate was against escaping, they felt a little regretful. When they came, they were instructed to create an opportunity for the two to escape and then seize it. At that time, even if they had reason, they wouldn't be able to explain themselves. In Kai County, Cui Riji was holding a big banquet, chatting and laughing with a group of people. Yesterday evening, The imperial court's decree had been quickly delivered. Prime Minister Zhang Shuo had personally given the order, asking Cui Riji to find a way to bypass Li Linfu, arrest all the people who should be arrested, and send them to the capital. But who would have thought that Li Linfu would personally go to Baoxin County? When he went to capture people at night, his subordinates wanted to stop him at first. In the end, they took advantage of the moment when their guard was down at dawn to capture people. Fortunately, Li Linfu didn't come back and didn't send people here. Otherwise, the resistance would have been very fierce. This humble official congratulates you on taking over. In the future, the county matters will depend on you. This humble official will propose a toast to you. The county magistrate, surnamed Yin, successfully took over after the previous county magistrate was captured. Of course, the accounts would continue to be investigated. The more problems he found, the better it would be for him. After the others heard Cui Riji's imagination for the future of Xian Kai County, he flattered him. Cui Riji was in a happy mood. The 3 people in the county had been dealt with. Although the original registrar couldn't be captured, he consciously handed over the power in his hands. When Li Linfu returned, he would let Li Linfu take over. He wanted to see what Li Linfu could do. When he heard the flattering words of his subordinate, he chuckled and said, "County Magistrate Yin can't be left out of the county's matters. We must work hard together in the future." The other gentlemen and merchants who were invited also expressed their congratulations to the 2 of them. At the table, they talked back and forth. They tried their best to choose good words to say. As for the difficulties that the county might face in the future, no one brought it up. Just as they were eating at the most lively time and hadn't finished yet, Li Linfu hurried back. He didn't need to find someone to ask. The person who stayed behind to guard the county came over and told him what happened last night. In the end, he complained that Cui Riji used force on them. Now that I know, the county will have a hard time in the future. Even though Li Linfu had thought of this a long time ago, he still felt very helpless when it really happened. After tidying up a little, he dragged his tired body to the place where Cui Riji was holding the banquet. Before he entered, he smelled the strong smell of wine and heard the sound of people slurping inside. Li Linfu calmed himself down and walked into the room. He cupped his hands and congratulated Cui Riji. "Congratulations, Master Cui. You have made a great contribution this time. Master Cui is indeed a good person. I just don't know if Master Cui understands that the crimes of others today may fall on us someday. When that time comes, will you? It doesn't matter whether you will or not. As long as you and I work with peace of mind, we will not let down the emperor and the people." Master Li must have had a hard time rushing back. Someone, take away the wine and dishes on the table and serve them again. Before Li Linfu could finish his words, Cui Riji waved his hand and didn't let him continue. Then he ordered people to change the banquet. Seeing that things had come to this, Li Linfu also understood that if he continued to help Feng Changgong now, he could only put himself in danger. Looking at the people who were almost drunk, he didn't refuse Cui Riji's arrangement. He found a place to sit down and said to Cui Riji, "Did you use your own money for this meal or the money in the account?" Cui Riji, who was very happy at first, heard Li Linfu mention money. His face darkened like Wei Wei. Then he looked at the squires who were also looking at him with confused eyes. He snorted and said, "Today is the day when we take over, and it is a good day to get rid of the scourge for the people in this county. Let's not talk about other things." Master Cui is right. Then let's not talk about it. Can I also take over? Li Linfu heard Cui Riji's words and knew that he must have spent the money in the account. He was secretly happy and asked about taking over. Cui Riji still had to check the account. He thought that if he let Li Linfu take over now, the account would be handed to Li Linfu. If Li Linfu wanted to cover up for others, it would be difficult for him to take care of it. So he said, "Master Li just came back. You are very tired. Why don't you have a good rest today and take over tomorrow?" Chapter 742. In Baoxin County, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan finished telling stories to their younger brothers and sisters and arranged for them to take a nap. Then, they started to discuss their trip to Beijing. Zhang Xiaobao was worried about his sister Xiaobei's injury and didn't want to go. He said to Wang Wan, "Do you think it's okay if we refuse?" "Okay. If we refuse, Li Longji won't be able to say anything. But why should we refuse? Let He Wei take care of the affairs in the county and train him. That's a good idea." Wang Wan didn't expect Zhang Xiaobao to not want to go to Beijing, so she asked in confusion, "It's all because of Xiaobei. If we leave, what will happen to him?" "She'll go with us, but her arm is injured. She's young, so the injury isn't serious. She'll be fine when we get there. They can also go and see a new place. They've never been to Jinyang before." When Wang Wan heard that Zhang Xiaobao was worried about Xiaobei, she immediately said that she wanted to bring her younger brothers and sisters along. She didn't care about the number of people. She thought that even Li Longji couldn't refuse. Zhang Xiaobao didn't say anything immediately. He sat there and thought for a while. Then he said, "Fine, I'll listen to you. Bring Xiaobei and the others along. Tell He Wei not to agree to anything from the people in Xinsai County so that he won't be cheated. This way, we can leave and let them fight in Xinsai County first, so that we won't be involved. Then it's settled. I'll ask someone to arrange it right away. We'll take a boat around the county. It's less bumpy, and Xiaobei and the others are used to taking boats. They're not afraid of seasickness." Seeing that Zhang Xiaobao had changed his mind, Wang Wan got up and went out to arrange it. Zhang Xiaobao sat in his chair and didn't move. He looked at Xinsai County, smiled, and muttered, "You guys go ahead. We'll talk about it when we come back." The news that Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were going to leave did not spread, so the people in the county did not know. He Wei, who knew about it, anxiously found the two of them and said to them, "If you leave, what will happen to the county? We'll do what we did before and what we'll do after we leave. If Lord He has a good idea, you don't have to worry. As long as it's not for your own benefit, it's fine even if you make a mistake. However, you have to be careful of Li Linfu and Chui Riji from Xiankai County. If they come to discuss something with you, don't agree so easily." Zhang Xiaobao really didn't think that Baoxin County still needed to make any arrangements now. As long as they continued to do as they were now, they would be able to change from Zhongxian County to Shangxian County after the autumn harvest. After explaining to He Wei, he was ready to let him handle all the matters in the county. "All right, I'll try my best not to think too much about it. Let's stabilize this place first." He Wei looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan enviously. While he was happy that they were personally invited by the emperor to accompany them, he also thought of himself. After He Wei's matter was resolved, Old Man Pai and the other two who also knew about the news also came over. They wanted to go with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. If Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not agree, they really couldn't go. The emperor did not ask for them. As a result, the group that wanted to leave became larger. When Xiaobei heard that they could go to another place, he happily said that he could go because his arm was fine. After waiting for 2 days, when the weather was good, when night fell, Zhang Xiaobao and the others set off. This was done to prevent the people from sending them off after they knew about it. The only person who stayed was Ernie. He still had to play games with the people from the Four Seas Academy and delay the energy of the people from the Four Seas Academy so that they could not be busy with other things. The sound of cicadas kept ringing, making people feel even more uncomfortable in the already hot weather. Liu, who had already drunk 3 bowls of iced sour plum soup, looked at the sunlight outside, narrowed his eyes, and ordered, "Someone, go find those people who came last time. It's time to continue the discussion today." The servant outside the door nodded and hurried to find those people. Liu poured himself a bowl of sour plum soup and drank a big mouthful. He let out a long breath and said to himself, "Fortunately, I went to Xinsai County and met Zhang Xiaobao. Otherwise, I would have been deceived. Each and every one of you has guts. Do you really think that I won't dare to deal with you with my identity?" Liu's servant quickly found the people Liu wanted to meet in a restaurant in Changning County. He told them that he would go back first and asked them to hurry over. There were a total of 6 people here, and they hadn't had a good time recently. Originally, they thought that they could easily sign a contract with Liu and then make a lot of money. Who would have thought that just as Liu was about to agree to it, he would run to Xiankai County? When they came back and discussed the matter again, the share for their side became 10%. At first, they agreed that each side would pay 50,000 strings of cash, so the total would be 100,000 strings of cash. Together with the 25,000 strings of cash, they would get 40%, and the other side would get 60%. Then they could ask for shares in technology and management. That way, they could get another 10%, turning it into a 50-50 split. However, the business channel would be controlled by their people in the end, and the other side could not immediately get shares to share the dividends. They had to mine 25,000 strings of cash first. However, when Liu came back, he said that the accounts could not be calculated like that. The land fee was considered as a share of 25,000 strings of cash, but the mining was considered as a resource. If they wanted to add in, they had to first ask for how long they would mine and how much iron and clay they would mine. The money that could only be earned in the future would be directly converted into shares. When they had mined enough, if they cooperated again, the shares would be distributed again. As for the employment of the people, it was a matter for both sides, not Chongning County. After all, the people provided the labor force. The model should be purely commercial, not a mixture of administrative and economic cooperation. I originally thought that the Marquis didn't know anything. Now it seems that he isn't simple. I just don't understand why he changed his mind when he was about to agree to something when he went out to find someone to invest in it. He showed us 50,000 strings of cash, but the contract isn't easy to negotiate. A person from the Millennium Chamber of Commerce said, "President, could it be that someone gave him the idea after he went out?" According to the news from the Four Seas Academy, he met with his brother by the river in Shinsai County that day. Rumor has it that he also met Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan from Buxin County. If they gave him the idea behind the scenes, it would not be easy to fool him. Another person said to the person who spoke earlier, emphasizing Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, as long as one was observant, there was no one who did not know of their reputations. Of course, if one had not fought with the two of them, they would not be able to experience their legendary abilities. Hearing this, the other four people also remembered. The president said helplessly, "It's all because the news came too late. If it had come earlier, we could have asked Liu when we met last time. Today, he asked us to go over. I guess he wants to make a final decision. I don't know what he will agree to." As he spoke, the president stood up, tidied up his clothes, and walked out of the door. The other five people looked at each other and followed behind. However, everyone's faces were not as excited as when they first came. Instead, there was a trace of worry. Liu did not wait for too long. The 6 people from the Millennium Chamber of Commerce came to the yamen. Liu received them in a pavilion in the courtyard with a pond. After the 2 parties sat down in the pavilion, Liu asked someone to serve tea. The president of the other party spoke. "Mr. Li, what do you think about the construction of the workshop in the county? We went back and discussed it. We said that we would use the land to calculate 25,000 strings of coins and then dig out 50,000 strings of coins. Our skills in management would only take up 25%, which is really too little. In that case, in the end, we would only take up 75% of all the shares, including our skills and management and 50,000 strings of coins. Lordly, can we discuss this matter further? Otherwise, the money we invested will not be worth it. How about this? Let's not take a share of the 50,000 strings of cash that we will be collecting. Our technology and management, together with the 50,000 strings of cash that we invested, will take 50% of the shares. When it's time to mine, we will set up a special mining workshop. You will use the local resources to take half, and we will use the mining technology to take the other half. This is the idea of the 2 chambers of commerce. Or rather, the 2 transactions will be separated and settled separately. The workshop we worked with before will buy from the place we came later. This way, we can be considered to have a good deal. Otherwise, you will be using goods that have not appeared to exchange for our current shares. This is unfair to us." After the president finished speaking, the others nodded, indicating that this was how it should be done. Liu was happy. Although he could not agree, he could gain benefits from several negotiations. That was, the shares of the land had been determined. The other party did not object to using the occupied land to buy shares. At first, the land and mining were considered as one share. Now that it was divided, there was more profit. Seeing the 6 people looking at him, Liu nodded, shook his head, and said, "President Tian, how about this? Let's not talk about the mining of resources. Let's talk about the former. In the future, the county will set up a special resource mining chamber of commerce. When the time comes, we will directly buy from the workshop we worked with. I promise you that at the same price, you will have the priority to buy. If you think that the land will take up too much of the shares and you will lose too much, then take it out and use the workshop we worked with to rent the land from the county. We will share the cost of this." The 6 people of the Millennium Chamber of Commerce frowned at the same time and analyzed this matter. After a while, President Tian asked, "Does it mean that we will only cooperate with Tao and Tai's workshop directly, and we will have to buy and rent the land and mining separately? In this case, how much of the shares should our technology and management plus the 50,000 strings of coins take? You only took out 50,000 strings of coins. You can't take half, right? But I still feel that something is wrong. How about we discuss it?" Chapter 743. The moment Liu left, the 6 of them began their discussion. They were prepared to be more forceful today, thinking that Liu would take a step back for the sake of the locals. But when they were forceful, Liu did take a step back, but in a different way. "President, from the looks of it, we have a lot of shares in our partnership with Liu. Even if we only take 10% of the shares in terms of technology and management, we can still get a total of 55% of the shares if we control the sales channels. But why do I feel like there's something wrong with doing that? It seems that we are the ones who will lose. It's much worse than what we planned at the beginning." A white-haired person in the Chamber of Commerce analyzed to President Tian. President Tian was much smarter than this person. After he finished, he said to him, "Of course we will lose because the cost of the products we produce has increased. We have to pay part of the cost of the mines and part of the cost of renting the land. In the end, all of the money will go into Liu's pocket. He may have less shares, but his income has increased. He used us to take an extra 5% in exchange for 2 direct benefits." After hearing the president's words, the white-haired person understood. So this was what he felt was wrong. He sighed and said, "This Liu is not easy to deal with. Should we change to another place? How can we change to another place? This Changning County is the best. If we change to another place, other officials will dare to cooperate with us like this. Liu's status is different. Even if he loses in the end, he can take responsibility. Other officials won't dare to." A pockmarked face person next to the white-haired person rejected the other suggestion. "Then what should we do to take advantage of him? Should we just fake the accounts in the sales channels to get back the losses?" Another person couldn't think of a way, so he asked someone else. President Tian shook his head and said, "We can't fake the accounts. I think Liu will send people to follow us. If he really finds out, he can deal with us directly. Now we think that he is afraid of losing face and can't use force to threaten us. That's why we want to cooperate with him." This time, the 6 of them were silent again. They drank cup after cup of tea. When they felt that the tea was tasteless, President Tian said to the other 5, "Actually, it's not like there's no other way. There's another good idea. We can learn from Liu and separate the sales department. We will use technology and 50,000 strings of cash to exchange for 55% of the shares. Liu will take 45%. When the products are produced, we will sell the part that we sell. As for the dividends, we will only share the part that is produced and sold. As for how much the sales are, won't we still earn it ourselves?" As expected of the president. "Good idea. I think this method will work. Once we continue to invest the money we earn, we can squeeze Liu out of the market bit by bit. Or, once the contract is signed, we can transfer the money directly." Xiaobai slapped his thigh and praised President Tian. President Tian stroked the short beard under his chin and nodded with a smile. He said, "There's another important point. Once the people in Changning County have work to do, they will rely on us. When the time comes, we will have the technology and can directly threaten the local employment situation." Yes, we have the technology. But President Tian, we don't have any good technology. The pottery is still the same. We just hang some other things outside at the end. If we put iron shavings inside, it may not be able to be burned out. Xiaobai thought of the most important point. They didn't have any technology. Otherwise, they wouldn't think of making money by cheating. The person next to President Tian laughed and said, as long as we work on the appearance and matching packaging, it will be fine. The furniture of the Zhang family and the Wang family is good, but it's not that other people can't make it. They created their own brand and put anti-counterfeiting on it, making people feel that using their things is noble. We can also learn to do it. What's more, the pottery in a place looks the same. Other people can't learn from other pottery. I think this is a good idea. Everyone discussed for a while, and 2 hours passed just like that. As expected, Liu wandered back. Looking at the expressions of the 6 people, he said with a smile, have you thought it through? How did the discussion go? President Tian took out the method that he had just thought of. He wanted to use technology and 50,000 strings of cash in exchange for 55% of the shares. After that, the 6 people looked at Liu. They didn't know if he found the problem and if he would agree. Liu ordered someone to change the tea. He pretended to hesitate for a moment before nodding. All right, I agree to this. However, I will let others mine the clay and iron ores. Since you are in charge of managing them, you will be the one to negotiate the price with them. Renting the land is simple. You will have to pay the same amount of money for 1 mu of land for a year. After all, 1 mu of land needs to be deducted, which will affect normal agricultural production. It's very cheap. At least 1 mu of land needs to be rented for 10 years. In other words, we will jointly pay 10,000 strings of cash. There's another very important thing. Since our business requires transportation, we have to build a road in the county first. We have to build a road that can connect our workshop to the outside. In order to save money, many places need to be built in a straight line. That way, we will have to compensate for the land. I have calculated that it will be about 5,000 strings of cash. Another thing is the river. Our county doesn't have a big river, but the neighboring county has each one. The workshop can't not use water. It will cost about 25,000 strings of cash to bring the river over. We will still pay for this, but the land won't be considered as land use fees. After all, it can be used for irrigation. Let's talk about this first. If possible, I agree to only ask for 45% of the shares. The money is ready. I just need you to sign the document, and I will hand it over to you. However, you have to send someone to keep an eye on the account book. What do you think? After Liu finished speaking, he leaned back in his chair and picked up the teacup to drink leisurely. He was very happy in his heart. He thought to himself, little guys, you come here to scheme. You don't even know who I am. If I am really tricked by you, how can I raise my head among my brothers? This is only the first step. Wait and see. There are many ways. That was Zhang Xiaobao's idea. When the people from the Millennium Chamber of Commerce heard Liu's words, they were happy. When they heard the whole story, they finally knew what Liu was planning. He wanted them to take out 20,000 strings of cash for Chongning County's local development. Liu's expression changed. Chairman Tan hurriedly waved his hand. Lord Li, this is not good. If we do this, we will be wasting money. Although you will also take out 20,000 strings of cash, it is not a normal business to take out so much money. Oh, that's right. Then let me ask you. You told me before that you would make a profit in 1 year, recoup your capital in 2 years, and double it in 3 years. Is that true? Liu asked. Of course it is true. The main thing is that the first year needs to be used to create a brand. If we work harder and produce the products this year and create a brand, we may be able to double it by next winter. We have underestimated the ability to make money. Chairman Tian promised again. Then it's settled. We need to pay taxes for our business. How about this? The county will exempt the production and sales of our workshop from taxes for 10 years. According to what you said, the tax exemption is quite high. However, your independent sales department also needs to pay taxes. I will find someone of mine there. Yes, it's a good idea. But your independent sales department also needs to pay taxes. Unless you were lying to me earlier, there's no way you'll be able to earn that much money. Otherwise, you can calculate how much less tax you'll have to pay according to the development you described earlier. Not to mention 40,000 strings of cash. You can even get 10, right? Seeing that the other party admitted, Liu made things easier. He gave them a chance to calculate the profit and promised to exempt them from taxes. They would use 40,000 strings of cash in exchange for 10 years of tax. So this is what he was waiting for, the 6 people of the Chamber of Commerce thought at the same time. When they looked at Liu again, they felt that Liu was not an official sitting opposite them, but an old fox who was good at calculating. His calculation was too good. The one with the white hair couldn't help but ask, "Lord Li, did you meet Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan in Xinsai County? How did you know? We just had a meal together. My brother is building a workshop with them. Otherwise, where would I get so much money?" Liu pretended to be surprised and asked, then explained how he got the money. The 6 people understood. No wonder Liu seemed like a different person when he came back. As expected, he had received advice from Zhang Xiaobao. His opponent had changed, and he couldn't act like before. Even if it was just rumors about how powerful Zhang Xiaobao was, he still had to be on guard. The 6 people looked at each other and didn't know what to say. "Do you still want to discuss it a little more? Then this official will take a look at the front." Liu put down his teacup and asked. Seeing the change in the expressions of the 6 people, Liu felt very comfortable. Now they knew who was behind this, right? Even if they don't want to do it, they can't. I raised all the money here. If they don't do it, wouldn't they be playing with me, a marquis? Hearing Liu's question, President Tian gritted his teeth and said, "There is no need to discuss it. We will do as Lord Li says. We agree to the tax exemption for 10 years. That's good. I will order someone to write the document. If you feel that there are no omissions, then sign it." Liu really didn't care what the other party was up to. Even if there was something that Zhang Xiaobao didn't tell him, he could just ask Zhang Xiaobao again. Soon, the document was signed. There was no supervision, so each side held a copy. Chapter 744. After the people from the Millennium Chamber of Commerce had a meal with Liu, they were personally escorted to the yamen by Liu. As he watched the 6 of them walk toward a house that was going to be sold, Liu looked at the darkening sky and muttered, "I'm finally a proper county magistrate." "Sir, aren't you afraid that they're lying to you? I don't think they're good people. They signed a contract too quickly." One of Liu's advisors didn't know about this before. Liu had just found him from somewhere else. It was said that he didn't do well in the imperial examinations, but he was very good at other things, especially economics. It wasn't until Liu signed the contract with the 6 people and called them over to drink with them that he found out what the person he was supposed to be assisting had done. There were too many people earlier, so he didn't ask. Now that there was no one around, he reminded him worriedly, "Little worm, do you feel uncomfortable that I didn't tell you about this in advance? Don't worry. Other than this, I'll ask you about everything else in the future." Liu said to his advisor, "I don't dare. Sir, you must have thought things through. Besides, it's my first time here. There are many things that I shouldn't know." The advisor had indeed thought of this before. Why didn't he discuss it with him? Was it because he wasn't good enough? If that was the case, why did he ask him? Now that he saw Liu speak so calmly, he was slightly moved. He hurriedly denied it vaguely, letting Liu know that he had thought about it and giving Liu a way out. Liu didn't care about what the advisor thought and explained, "I don't think you can interfere in this matter. You just want to persuade me not to cooperate with them, right?" "That's right," the advisor replied calmly as well. "Then how will this county develop?" The people who came up with the idea behind the contract were Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. If it weren't for the fact that I have a good brother who's familiar with them, they wouldn't care about this matter. That's why I must cooperate with the Millennium Chamber of Commerce. Liu told his advisor about the source of the idea. When the advisor heard this, he was puzzled at first. Then his eyes widened and he asked in disbelief, "Sir, are you talking about Zhang Xiaobao from the Zhang family in Sanshui County? The one who went to Jianan Circuit?" "That's right. What's wrong? Are you unconvinced? Do you think you're better than him?" Liu asked. No, my lord, with him around, you really don't need this lowly one." How could this lowly one dare to refuse? This lowly one once played a game of Monopoly with the young master of the Zhang family, and couldn't even last 2 hours. I wholeheartedly accepted my loss. If my lord is looking for him, then you can rest assured. When it comes to economics, no one dares to surpass you. I really don't know what to say. Sir, can you find an opportunity to let me see him again? I've been studying economics very hard recently, and I want to get some pointers from him." The advisor shook his head repeatedly. He was Xiao Chong, the one who Zhang Xiaobao once said could last for 6 hours. This time, he came here with Zhong Gang. Zhong Gang didn't join Li Yu's side, but was busy doing business in the capital. It was Xiao Chong who gave him the idea. After knowing who helped him behind the scenes and gave Li Yu the idea, all of Xiao Chong's arrogance disappeared. Those who hadn't faced Zhang Xiaobao before wouldn't be able to understand that formless pressure. Xiao Chong was convinced. He looked at Li Yu with reverence. Someone who could ask Zhang Xiaobao to help him couldn't be weak. This time, the one who was shocked was Li Yu. He stared at Xiao Chong for a while, then said, "You actually competed with Zhang Xiaobao? Ha ha ha! Did you feel very wronged when you lost?" "How do you know, sir?" Xiao Chong was indeed very wrong back then. Of course, Zhang Xiaobao's methods are not simple. Come, follow me. I'll let you see what Zhang Xiaobao's plan is all about. If the people from the Millennium Chamber of Commerce really do business properly, and they really do make a lot of money, I'll also exempt them from taxes for 10 years. If they dare to have any bad ideas, I'll make sure they don't leave. Li Yu pulled on Xiao Chong's sleeve and walked into the room, talking as they walked. When Xiao Chong heard that he could personally see Zhang Xiaobao's plan, he was so excited that he trembled. He raised his other arm and wiped the sweat from his forehead due to excitement. He said, "I believe everything you say, sir. The young master of the Zhang family is indeed like this. When you fight, you give others a chance first. If they don't accept, then they will face an overwhelming attack. President, if we sign a contract like this, won't we lose a lot of money?" After buying a house in the county, the 6 people from the Millennium Chamber of Commerce first returned to the restaurant. The house needed to be renovated before it could be lived in. Now they had to stay in the local area, so they couldn't continue to live in the restaurant. As soon as they entered the restaurant, the pockmarked man asked President Tian. While President Tian was busy with other things, he was also thinking about the contract. When he heard the question, he asked back, "Can we not sign it? Li Yu raised a lot of money. If we don't sign it, we'll be cheating him. For people like him, face is very important. We won't lose anything if we sign it. At most, we'll take out 40,000 strings of coins first, of which 10,000 strings of coins will be used to buy things. Come, look at the contract again. What does it say?" The other 5 people came over to look. The contract said that the first party was the Millennium Chamber of Commerce, and the second party was Li Yu. At the same time, there was a position of county magistrate. The 5 people looked at it for a while, but couldn't see anything. They turned to the president in confusion. Seeing that the 5 people couldn't see anything, President Tian smiled proudly and said, "Look here. It says that the Millennium Chamber of Commerce, which cooperates with Li Yu, is the first party. If we do business in Changning County, we'll be exempt from the annual tax. Do you see? 10 years. But it doesn't say that we'll be using clay and iron to make things. In other words, we could do other business in our name. In this way, starting tomorrow, we'll find other local businessmen to cooperate with and do business in our name. We can save half of the tax. We don't need to spend a single copper coin. We just need to use our name." "Is it really written like this? That's great. Is Li Yu a fool? No wonder the president asked us to read it word by word. It turns out that he thought of this." A person in the Chamber of Commerce stared at that line and said in surprise. This time, he really admired the president. No wonder the president agreed so quickly. Amazing, just using his name to cooperate with others, he could earn half the tax of other people's transactions. President Tian smiled reservedly and waved his hand. "It's just a small trick. Even if you find Zhang Xiaobao, what can he do? Others are afraid of Zhang Xiaobao, but I'm not. Humph, when we find a businessman tomorrow, you can find someone to spread the news that Li Yu found Zhang Xiaobao." In the end, the Millennium Chamber of Commerce took advantage of the loophole. So, when it comes to economics, no one can avoid failure. Every time you suffer a loss, you learn a lesson. "President, do you really want to do and say this? I'm afraid that Zhang Xiaobao will come to deal with us after he knows. His family has a lot of money. If by any chance he borrows hundreds of thousands of strings of cash from Li Yu, we won't be able to make money from the clay business." The person who spoke just now asked worriedly, "What are you afraid of?" If he really dares to invest so much money, then we can use some tricks when we manage it. The contract doesn't say that we'll only make money, right? How can we make money just because we take out money? Do you understand? President Tian explained. I understand. President is really smart. Xiaobai gave a thumbs up and praised. Xiao Chong, who had followed Li Yu into the room, first read the contract carefully. Just as he was about to look at Zhang Xiaobao's plan, his eyes landed on the clause that the Millennium Chamber of Commerce had mentioned. He was stunned. Suddenly, his expression changed. He said to Li Yu, "Sir, there's one clause in the contract that's not easy to deal with. It's the 10 years tax exemption. What if they use this as an excuse to work with the local businessmen to avoid paying taxes?" Li Yu continued Xiao Chong's words. "That's right. What should we do?" Xiao Chong saw that Li Yu could say it out loud. He shouldn't have written this clause. Li Yu didn't answer him. He took out Zhang Xiaobao's plan and threw it in front of Xiao Chong. "Look at it yourself. Tomorrow, come with me to find a place to build a road and dig a river. This rundown county doesn't even have a big river. I originally wanted to make more money to build one, but now I don't have to." Xiao Chong carefully picked up Zhang Xiaobao's plan and flipped through it. The next day, the sky was high and the clouds were light. The sun came out early and shone on the earth and the people and things on it. Li Yu led his men to the restaurant where the Millennium Chamber of Commerce stayed. He ordered people to invite them in to discuss the road construction. As soon as they went up, the people from the Millennium Chamber of Commerce came down. However, there were only 3 people, not 6. The other 3 were nowhere to be found. So Li woke up early. "We're going to find you at the Yamen to discuss the road construction. We didn't expect you to come here personally. People always say that you're good to the people in the county. When we first came, we didn't think so. Now we believe it." Chairman Tian greeted Li Yu. Li Yu looked around. "Where are the other 3? They're busy with other things. The Millennium Chamber of Commerce doesn't just do business. Since we're in Chongning County, we naturally have to help the economy. Sir, you don't have to worry about them." Chairman Tian said casually, as if he really didn't have anything to do. Li Yu nodded happily. "Good. It's best if we can cooperate with the local merchants. Let's go." The group talked as they got on the carriages and horses. They went to the place where they wanted to build the workshop. Li Yu wanted to put the workshop in the center of the county. This way, the roads on both sides of the county could be repaired. At most, he would have to pay more money. Li Yu wanted to find a place close to the border. He wanted to save as much as possible. Both sides gave their reasons and argued nonstop. It was almost noon when they finally chose a place that was closer to the county in the east. There was a river there, so it would be convenient for transportation. Chapter 745. Seeing that the 3 of them had returned with many contracts, Chairman Tian smiled in relief. He turned to Li Yu, who was still looking at the terrain. "Lordly, actually, it's okay to build more. After all, people who do business have a conscience. If they could do more good for the people, they should do more." "Really?" Li Yu didn't expect Chairman Tian to be so easy to talk to. He was wondering if he should add more money. For people like him, no matter how much money he had, it was better to build a good reputation. If he didn't have money, he could ask others for money. If he really couldn't do it, he still had an adopted elder brother. Seeing Chairman Tian nod with a smile, Li Yu said happily, "Good. I like businessmen with a conscience. Making money is one thing, but you can't just think about money for the sake of making money. You should at least think about the people like Xiaobao and Cuckoo. Oh, let's not talk about them. They're officials. For example, between the clouds and the water, they're doing very well." Chairman Tian could earn more money now, so he naturally wouldn't refute Li Yu's words. Between the clouds and the water was still owned by the Zhang family and the Wang family. What was the difference? As he followed Li Yu forward, he gave a look to the people beside him, indicating that they should go out and take a look. He then whispered to the person closest to him, "There are no more businessmen in this county. We can go to other counties to take a look. Lure them here and reduce the tax. For example, 30% or even 20% is good. The more prosperous the county, the more they earn, and the more money we will have. Chairman, I'll go arrange it now." The person who received the order agreed and found an excuse to leave. He hired a carriage and rushed to another county as fast as he could. Liu pretended not to notice their little tricks. Xiaocheng also turned a blind eye. He now admired Zhang Xiaobao even more. The proposal had already mentioned this point. It could be said that he had foreseen the enemy first. While they were looking at the terrain, the Yamen of Chongning County posted a notice. Regardless of whether they could read or not, they should come closer to take a look. Those who could read would have to explain it to others. A large group of people had gathered at the spot closest to the entrance of the Yamen, which was used to post notices. A man dressed like a scholar stood at the front. The people around him gave up their spots to him as a sign of respect. No one squeezed past him and waited for him to read the words on the notice. This county has issued a new regulation. Those who are required to pay taxes and refuse to pay with any excuse will be forcibly collected by bailiffs. Depending on their attitude, they will be punished by 3 to 5 times the amount. I hope that all merchants in this county will remember this. That's it, just this one. It was also a kind of honor to be respected by so many illiterate people. Of course, it depended on the place. If it was in Sanshui County, no one would need him to read it. If there were children at home who had studied in school for 2 years, they could just bring them out. The people thought that it was a big deal, but when they saw that it was only for merchants to take the initiative to pay taxes in time, they were very disappointed. They sighed and dispersed. Chairman Tian, how about we go from here to the river? There are several small rivers in front of us that can be connected. It will be convenient to use water when the time comes. It won't be troublesome to make the rivers wider. Liu led the crowd to another place. He looked around and took out the map in his hand. After carefully comparing it, he said to Chairman Tian of the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce. Chairman Tian still had a reserved smile on his face. If Lordly says it's okay, then it's okay. The map in your hand seems to be more detailed than the one used for the game. Can I have a look? When Chairman Tian agreed, he glanced at the map in Liu's hand and found that there was something wrong with it. He also wanted a copy. Liu quickly closed the map and refused directly. No, even if I show it to you. Do you really dare to look at it? This is a military map. Of course it's detailed. After all, I'm also the military secretary of the province. That's why I have a map. Liu found an excuse for himself. In fact, he didn't have a map. In the whole Tang Empire, there were only 2 places that had a proper military map. One was the palace in the capital, and the other was the Zhang family and the Wang family. It was good enough that Zhang Xiaobao gave him a copy of Chongning's map. Even so, this map lacked notes. For example, when the horses walked on a certain place, whether it was difficult to walk, or what materials could be used when climbing a mountain. These were all missing. When Chairman Tian heard that it was a military map, he really wanted a copy. However, he didn't dare to. Why would a businessman want a military map? Chairman Tian nodded regretfully and didn't mention the map again. He continued to wander around with Liu. 2 days later, where to build roads and where to open rivers were all discussed. The people of the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce immediately transferred money and hired the local people to start working. This time, the people also knew that there was a chamber of commerce called Qianshi. They worked together with the county magistrate to do good things for the county. The chamber of commerce was good, but the county magistrate was better. Without the county magistrate, the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce wouldn't have come. In order to encourage the people to be more active, the Yamen posted a notice. It said that the idea of building roads with the Chamber of Commerce was proposed by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang, one of the Zhang family, in Sanshui County. It asked people not to worry. Many people didn't know who the Zhang family in Sanshui County was, but the businessmen who had traveled the north and south knew. They bragged to others during meals. This time, the people knew that the Zhang family was very powerful, and their children were also very powerful. Wherever they went, they never did anything wrong. They were good to the people, good at making money, honest officials, and rich officials. Yes, rich and honest officials. It was a magical combination of words. Knowing this, the enthusiasm of the people rose. They all signed up to build roads. Liu also followed the methods of the Zhang family, Wang family, and his brother. He used the money from the cooperation with the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce to pay the people. He was also responsible for a few meals a day. He also worked in shifts during the day and at night. Just when everything was going well, rumors started to spread in the county. Whether it was the tea house or the pub, many people were saying that the powerful Zhang Xiaobao of the Zhang family was at a disadvantage this time. The plan for Li Yu was wrong, and the people of the Qinshi Chamber of Commerce took advantage of it. They cooperated with the local businessmen to avoid paying taxes. This kind of rumor caused the people to lose their confidence in Zhang Xiaobao. At the same time, it also caused the people to dislike Qinshi Chamber of Commerce. This was because Li Yu had been imitating Baoxing County for the past 2 days. Every day, he began to explain in detail to the people how much money the yamen had, where it came from, and what to spend it on. He emphasized that the tax revenue would help the yamen and the people in the county. After the transparent financial report was made public, the people hoped that the yamen would have more money. This was because there were subsidies for the poor, and all the houses in the county would be renovated within 5 years. Everyone was waiting for the yamen to take out more money to help them repair their houses. After all, there was a lot of money now, but a portion of it was not for the county to use directly. It had to be handed over to the county. This was not Li Yu's fief, and he did not have any fief yet. Therefore, a part of the money could be kept in the county. More of it would be sent to the capital and rent. Even if there were some fools among the commoners, they could not resist the explanations of the smart people. They said that if the Millennium Chamber of Commerce did this, they would be able to make money and the yamen would not be able to collect taxes. The more merchants they contacted, the poorer the county would be. The Qinshi Chamber of Commerce, who had just spent money on roads and rivers, became a profiteer in the eyes of the people. They were not good people. At the same time, they were disappointed in Zhang Xiaobao. How could such a powerful person lose to others? Chairman Tian did not expect things to turn out like this. In the beginning, Li Yu did not disclose the finances of the county. How could the people know how much money the yamen had and what it was spending? If it was not disclosed, no matter how much the Chamber of Commerce did, the people would not know. Now, the good reputation that they had paid a lot of money for was gone. Chairman Tian had no choice but to find Li Yu and say, "Official Li, can you stop the announcement every day? It is not good for the people to know too much. The people can do what they want, but they can't be made to know." Stop? Why do we have to stop? It's not a secret matter. This official believes that I am honest enough as an official. There's nothing that cannot be told to others about the matters of the yamen. Also, what you said was wrong. If the people don't understand what the officials want to do, how can the people wholeheartedly support them? Li Yu did not have any room for discussion. He explained the situation in Baoxing County to Chairman Tian. As long as the people understood what the officials wanted to do, they did not have to worry about not having enough people. The people in the county would follow suit. Just thinking about it made him excited. Chairman Tian felt that Li Yu did it deliberately. He thought that Li Yu knew that the Qinshi Chamber of Commerce was cooperating with other merchants, but he found that the contents of the contract could not be changed. He could only silently endure it. However, he was not satisfied, so he came up with this idea to make the Qinshi Chamber of Commerce lose its good reputation. Thinking of this, Chairman Tian said, "Officially, if the Qinshi Chamber of Commerce's reputation is ruined, the people will not be willing to hire. How can we do business then? Don't worry. As soon as the workshop starts construction, I will come immediately. It has been 8 days since we signed the contract, right?" Li Yu promised. Then, he suddenly said something that made President Tian confused. "Yes, it has been 8 days. In a few days, the workshop will start construction. Officially, does the number of days have anything to do with the workshop?" Chairman Tian asked in confusion. "It has nothing to do with that, but it has something to do with the tax. According to the regulations of the county, merchants can delay paying the tax for 10 days. If they do not pay after 10 days, the punishment will be heavy. These days, no merchants have paid the tax. I am worried about them." Li Yu looked at Chairman Tian meaningfully and explained. Chapter 746. President Tian, come and take a look. Here are some maps with pottery. Which one do you think is the best place to dig? I'll send people there in these 3 iron mines. Li Yu didn't care what President Tian thought. He took out a map of Chongning County and showed it to President Tian. President Tian was still wondering why Li Yu wasn't in a hurry. Instead, he talked about taxes. Didn't he know that merchants who cooperated with the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce didn't have to pay taxes? After being asked by Li Yu, he realized that it was a military map. He took a closer look and was disappointed. It turned out to be a game map. After looking at the map, President Tian chose a place that supplied pottery and an iron mine. He didn't care much about the quality. The main reason was that these two places were close to the workshop. Judging from the current situation, the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce would have to repair the road to the place that supplied pottery and ore. He could save some money by choosing a place that was close to the workshop. Well, President Tian, choose these two places. I'll have people arrange it in a while. The charcoal used for pottery will be supplied by a special chamber of commerce. President Tian, you can rest assured. Li Yu circled the two places on the map and said to President Tian, there's one more thing. There will be many craftsmen from the capital who specialize in pottery. They have nothing to do with you. When you see them, don't think that I'll find other people to compete with you just after signing a contract with you. There's no such thing. If there are really powerful chambers of commerce that want to do the same business in the future, I'll be partial to you under the same conditions. After all, I've invested a lot of money here and I don't want to lose it. Well, it's almost noon. Why don't you stay for a meal before leaving? President Tian was stunned again. He knew that Li Yu didn't want to have a meal with him and asked out of courtesy. It was nothing. After all, it was a meal. Perhaps Li Yu was unhappy because of the taxes. But what did he mean by many craftsmen from the capital? And what if he was partial to the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce under the same conditions? Would he be partial to the other party? President Tian, who couldn't calm down, had to ask when Li Yu was about to send him off. Lord Li, what are the craftsmen doing? Could it be that there are other chambers of commerce that have taken a fancy to this place? Craftsmen? Those are the most outstanding craftsmen of our great Tang. After they finished participating in the competition in the capital, some of them were willing to stay behind and were arranged to live here. This place is close to the capital, and they don't do business here. Instead, they occupy a place here to study and improve pottery. As for the other chambers of commerce wanting to invest in the same business as the Millennium Chamber of Commerce, there was no such thing. I was just saying, if someone really came, I couldn't just drive them away. It was just like the restaurants in the county. Once there was a restaurant, there would be no one else in the county that could open a restaurant, right? President Tian, don't worry. I still have the same idea as before. As long as the conditions are the same, you won't suffer any losses. At the same time, I also guarantee that no matter how rich the person is, even if it's the Zhang family and the Wang family, I won't cooperate with them. Li Yu explained the situation to President Tian. Chairman Tian couldn't figure it out for a while, so he could only reply, okay, then I'll go back now and finish the work of the workshop as soon as possible. Take care. Come, see the guest out. Li Yu stood up and escorted Chairman Tian to the door. He had the servants continue to escort him out while he returned, sat down on a chair, and spoke to the screen. Little Worm, you can come out now. Did you see President Tian's expression just now? I saw it. You probably won't be able to sleep well tonight. My lord, are you really going to punish the merchants who worked with the Millennium Chamber of Commerce? At the very least, they'll have to pay 3 times the tax, and at the very most, it'll be 5 times the tax. If you punish them all at once, they'll lose money from the business they did a few days ago. Little Worm worriedly asked as he came out from behind screen. Li nodded seriously. Punish them. If they don't, the merchants will think of ways to evade the tax. This official wants the merchants of the county to know that if they want to make a fortune, they should do business properly. Don't always rely on crooked methods. If they're really capable, they can learn from the Zhang family and the Wang family and come up with more strange things. Seeing that Li Yu had made up his mind, Little Worm didn't try to persuade him anymore. However, he muttered in his heart, if all the merchants can be like the Zhang family and the Wang family, the Tang Empire will be bustling. Every day, we'll see many new things that we've never seen before. Just as Little Worm had said, Chairman Tian began to feel restless the moment he returned to the house. He felt that the hot weather was unbearable and that the chirping of cicadas was too noisy. He didn't like anything he saw, and even drinking water tasted bitter. One of the people from the Chamber of Commerce who went out came back. When he saw Chairman Tian, he asked with concern, "Chairman, did you talk to Liu? He's willing to take down the announcements every day." Take down what? That's Liu's way of proving that he's honest. How can he take it down? Chairman Tian fiercely shouted at the person who came back. The person was stunned. He carefully observed Chairman Tian's expression and asked cautiously, "Chairman, are you in some kind of trouble? Why don't you tell us? We can think of a solution together. We're in big trouble. I don't know what Liu's intentions are." First, he asked me how many days have passed since the last contract was signed. He specifically said that there are still 2 days left. If the merchants don't pay the taxes, they'll be punished. I can't think of any other methods. Chairman Tian tried his best to calm down. He told the person beside him one thing. The person who came back didn't say anything, waiting for the chairman to continue. The second thing is that he wants many artisans from the capital who specialize in pottery. They're the ones who stayed from the capital's craftsman competition. They should all be quite skilled. They're not here to do business, just to study. However, who can guarantee that they're really like this? There are already quite a few artisans here. If they join us, no matter how we use special methods to make people think that it's a new technology, they'll be able to figure it out. The third thing is that Liu mentioned that if a new Chamber of Commerce comes, as long as they want less benefits than us, he'll be willing to support them. I don't know if it's because someone wants to come or if he's just threatening us. Tell me, with 3 things in a row, which one of them can make people feel at ease? If Liu really finds a few more chambers of commerce to do the same business as us, that kind of competition will be the most uncomfortable. After Chairman Tian finished speaking, he felt a little better. He picked up the herbal tea on the table and poured it into his mouth. He looked at the person beside him, waiting for him to speak. The person who just came back was also frightened by Chairman Tian's words. He whispered, "Chairman, why don't we stop cooperating with other merchants? Is this what you meant? Are you stupid? Right now, we're cooperating with other merchants. Everything is according to the contract. Even if Liu isn't happy, as long as he still wants some face, he won't use other methods to deal with us. Once we stop cooperating with other merchants, how will other people see us? Are they afraid? Are they not capable enough? Or do they know that they've done something wrong and take the initiative to correct it? No matter what, it's not good for us. Even if we have to endure it, we have to endure it." Chairman Tian considered many things, but he couldn't solve them even if he said out loud. He could only wait. 2 days later, the weather was a little gloomy. The wind was still strong, blowing from the southwest to the northeast. The people who had set up stalls outside knew that it was going to rain. They all packed up and found shelter from the rain. The shops with houses didn't need to. Shunfeng Pastry Restaurant was one of those shops. Usually business was good. Normally, taxes were paid every half a month. It was a fixed amount, unlike some merchants who paid according to the quantity of goods. The owner of Shunfeng Pastry Restaurant was surnamed Wang. His name was Wang Sunfeng. He had named the restaurant after himself. Today was the day he was supposed to pay his taxes, because according to the half-a-month period, it was just right. He had delayed it for 10 days. But he wasn't worried at all. Even though the waiter had already warned him not to offend the yamen, Wang Sunfeng still felt that he should wait and see. Hurry up. It's going to rain soon. If the stalls outside can't sell, there will be more people coming in to eat. If anyone dares to slack off, I'll deduct their wages. Looking at the sky outside, Wang Sunfeng was very happy. There were fewer competitors now. If it could rain until nighttime, his income today would be equivalent to 2 days of good weather. Just as he was feeling happy, 2 bailiffs from the yamen came. They knew each other. One of the bailiffs sat at a table and said to Wang Sunfeng, "Brother Wang, isn't it time to pay the tax? It's been 10 days. "Io, Brother Fu, you're wrong. I've already signed a contract with the Millennium Chamber of Commerce. Even if I take money out today, it will be sent to them. They're tax-free for 10 years. Look, when we signed the contract, we copied down the relevant places. The people from the Millennium Chamber of Commerce even put their fingerprints on it. It can't be faked." Wang Sunfeng didn't want to pay at all. He could save half of the money. It wasn't a small amount. "So you're refusing to pay your taxes? Then don't blame me for not being able to do it. Arrest him." As the runner spoke, the chain went for Wang Suanfeng's neck. Wang Sunfeng could have dodged, but he didn't. If he dodged, he would be resisting arrest. What right do you have to arrest me? I didn't do anything wrong. I want to talk to the county magistrate. Wang Sunfeng was brought to the yamen by the runners. At this time, there were many people in the yamen who had been arrested. They didn't dare to move because they knew Li Yu's identity. They just wanted an explanation. When most of the people had arrived, Li Yu came to the front with a contract in his hand. He said to the crowd, "Is there anyone who doesn't agree? Fine, I'll tell you. Look carefully. When Party A cooperates with Party B, they are tax-free. When they signed the contract with you, they didn't cooperate with me in this regard. You'll pay what you have to pay. No one can escape. Pay your taxes and pay your fines. Then you can go home. Sir, you can say whatever you want. Why do you have the final say?" A merchant rolled his eyes and said. Chapter 747. After explaining the contract to the merchants working with the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce, Li Yu really forced them to pay up and increase the fine by 3 times. The merchants did not dare to resist. They were scared out of their wits. They were not afraid of Li Yu, but of Zhang Xiaobao. The rumors were true, and Zhang Xiaobao lived up to his reputation. A few days ago, they had been saying that the undefeated Zhang Xiaobao had lost. Now, they knew what it meant to have no empty seats. "Lord Li, no, Marquis, you are familiar with the young master of the Zhang family. I accept the punishment. Not just 3 times, even 5 times is fine. I spoke ill of him a few days ago, so please speak up for me. Don't let him send people to open a pancake shop." Wang Sunfeng, who owned a Shunfeng pastry restaurant at home, walked up to Li Yu from behind the crowd of businessmen. His face was full of regret as he pleaded with Li Yu. He was even willing to pay more, just to prevent Zhang Xiaobao from taking revenge. Li Yu was amused. Wang Sunfeng was not afraid of a marquis, but he was afraid of Zhang Xiaobao coming to take care of the shop. He waved his hand impatiently. "I said 3 times, then 3 times. If you do it again, 5 times, and you'll be locked up." "Then the young master of the Zhang family?" Wang Sunfeng asked without a trace of joy. "He doesn't have the time to care about you. He is someone who does great things. You are not even a chicken that is going to kill a chicken to scare the monkey." Yes, I am just an ant. He doesn't have time to kill me." That's good. Wang Sunfeng was relieved. Many of the other merchants thought the same. They were afraid that Zhang Xiaobao would come personally. If he wanted to deal with them, he would not have to resort to underhanded means. He could just throw money at them. Chairman Tian of the Qianshi Chamber of Commerce and the others were not sure when the county would catch the merchants. A notice was posted outside the yamen. It contained a portion of the contract, as well as the amount of taxes and fines that the merchants had to pay. All of it would be recorded, especially the fines, which were not taxes that had to be paid. They could be kept and used for the development of Chongning County. The continuous decrease in revenue for the past few days had already made the people worried. Now that they suddenly saw the contents of the contract and the revenue, the people who were worried about their hometown quickly smiled and spread the news. When President Tian and the others heard the news, they took out the contract and read it carefully. It was written very clearly in the contract. Only those who cooperated with Li Yu could enjoy the tax exemption, especially the last sentence, which made the 6 of them learn a new trick, but the price was not small because they had to compensate the merchants who cooperated with them. One move behind. Zhang Xiaobao, I will remember this. President Tian sighed and looked at the hazy sky outside. The other 5 people were also worried. They had witnessed the legendary prowess of Zhang Xiaobao, but they had yet to discover the backup plan of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Were they setting up a trap, or were they not planning to take revenge? Just like the sky, it was gloomy and gloomy. It was hard to bear. Li Yu, who had received a large sum of money from the yamen, was very happy to treat the punished merchants to a meal. The food was not bad. The whole mutton soup was still being cleaned up. The mutton was brought up first, and there was a large pot next to it. There were mutton bones and mutton fat inside, and it was boiling. Chopped green onions, coriander, salted garlic, and pepper were all prepared. When the soup was ready, they could drink it. Li Yu picked up a piece of mutton face and said to the merchants in the yard, Everyone has made a lot of contributions to this county. I will thank you on behalf of the county people. Eat. The merchants were not in the mood to eat, but they did not dare to not eat. They picked up their chopsticks and casually put some meat into their mouths and ate with Liu. After eating for a while, the mutton soup was ready. Liu asked someone to serve him a bowl full of soup. He took 2 sips and felt comfortable all over. Then he said to the merchants, "In this prosperous dynasty, the goods are prosperous and the people are peaceful. We should join forces. However, although there are only a few fools, the time is not right for everyone. Perhaps the path is unclear. Therefore, we want to gather, move together, fight together, so. Lordly, can you say something else?" More than half of the merchants did not understand what Liu was talking about. Someone asked in a low voice, "Oh, actually what I'm saying is that everyone is living a good life now. The people of Tang are in a good time. In our county, everyone should be motivated to work together. However, although there are few fools, there are many who are not. They can't find a better way. So I think we should join forces and advance and retreat together." Just like Lu Zhou, all the people there worked together with the merchants. The merchants had formed their own merchant associations. When they had good things to sell, they would not go to others alone to negotiate the price. Otherwise, they would be sold and attacked one by one. It was the same when it came to buying things. The common folk in the county can't compare to Lu Zhou, but shouldn't you merchants work together with me? When you trade, you can talk to other merchants together. That way, you'll suffer less losses and gain more benefits. Li did not want to show off how talented he was. When he saw that many people did not understand, he immediately changed his way of speaking. He looked at the merchants, asking them if they wanted to join him. The merchants now knew that Liu, the Marquis, was going to learn from the Zhang family and the Wang family. They hesitated. The Zhang family and the Wang family could succeed because they had powerful people. Could they do the same? Liu seemed to have guessed the thoughts of the merchants. He continued, "Let's try it out first. If we find it difficult, I'll ask Zhang Xiaobao. What do you think?" "We'll listen to your orders, my lord." Wang Sunfeng expressed his stance. Liu's last sentence had worked. The other merchants also agreed. As long as Liu could talk to Zhang Xiaobao, there would be no problem. Let's paddle the 2 oars and push the waves away. On the Yellow River, or more accurately, on the Wei River, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's fleet slowly moved forward. Little Bei, Little Yuan, Big Man, Little Man, and a group of little fellows sat on the south side of the ship. Their voices drifted in and out as they sang. The human-powered propeller continued to spin in the countercurrent. There was no need for a tracker. Moreover, there were 2 large wheels beside the propeller. At full speed, it was very fast. Because the ship had many levels and was too high, the little fellows couldn't see the ship below them. They could only look at the south side. The south side was relatively more prosperous. There were fishing boats and passenger boats waiting to be ferried. In the shallow waters of the river, there were naked children swimming. Little Bei and the others sang until they stopped. They stared blankly at the shore. The ship rocked gently in the water, but it didn't make them seasick. The guards didn't disturb them either. They only set up a net below the ship to prevent anyone from falling in. Although Little Bei and the others could swim, it depended on what kind of water they were in. While they were looking at the people on the shore were also looking at them. Because the ship was moving along the north side of the river, it was far away and there were no binoculars. They could only see a group of children sitting on the side of the ship. Only the merchants who often came and did business knew who the people on the ship were. The 2 rice seedlings holding hands clearly told the people who were familiar with them that this was the young master and young lady of the Zhang and Wang families who were on the move. Could it be that someone has offended the great Tang and is about to go to war? After seeing the flags, one of the servants of a merchant from Jiannan's circuit nervously asked the person next to him. The person next to him also couldn't guess. He said, "Who else would they fight? Could it be that there's a powerful enemy? Otherwise, why would Xiaobao and Kuka move out at the same time? That can't be. The Turks have been well-behaved for a long time. Why would the 2 of them be sent out? What are you 2 talking about? Didn't you see that Little Bei and the others are on the ship? You want to take them out to war? I think they're just sightseeing." It would be great if they could go sightseeing in Jianan Circuit. Maybe I can sell some things to them. The master of the two servants also stopped to watch. When he heard the words of the two servants, he followed suit. The people on the ship didn't know what the others were talking about. They were still busy with their own business. Zhang Xiaobao was cooking, and Wang Wan was helping him. Little Bei had eaten too many bones in the past few days, so he suggested that he wanted to eat vegetables. Therefore, Zhang Xiaobao decided to cook vegetables today. He also cooked an eggplant and cucumber scrambled eggs. Wang Wan was in charge of the main dish. She used dandelion seeds to make pies and put some dried shrimps and oil in them. The pies were wrapped in thin layers. She only put a little oil in the first pan, and the rest were all dried. The pies were only 5 centimeters in diameter, making them very convenient to eat. After placing the pies on the pans, Wang Wan looked at the fire and asked Zhang Xiaobao, "Are we really responsible for all the expenses?" Zhang Xiaobao, who was peeling the cucumber, slowed down his movements and said, "Of course. If I don't take advantage of this opportunity to make money, I won't be able to sleep at night." After peeling the cucumber, Zhang Xiaobao only chose the most tender part in the middle and cut it for later use. He also took the eggplant. He didn't want the skin or the innermost part. He only chose the middle part without oil and blanched it with water. After Wang Wan saw it, she said, "You spoiled it. If you eat bean sprouts, do you have to cut off the head and the tail? Have you thought of story? We didn't throw it away. The rest is just enough to make a mess of stew. The cucumber will be mixed with cold dishes. I've thought of a story. Once upon a time, there was a family," Zhang Xiaobao said as he cooked. Stories were prepared for meals. Children were partial to food and had eaten too much meat recently. Xiaoyun didn't like to eat vegetables. In order to let the younger siblings take the initiative to eat, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan had to think of a story every time they cooked. It revolved around the dishes they cooked. The central idea of the story was how delicious the dish was, how difficult it was for others to eat it, and what would happen after eating it. They didn't directly tell the children what was the use of eating it, such as how it didn't have any effect on nutrition. In this way, when the children ate, they would think about the plot of the story. If the food was not too bad, the children would take the initiative to eat it. Most of the time, when a person liked to eat a dish, it wasn't that the dish was delicious, but it was a habit in the mind. Wang Wan flipped the pancake, took the dough, and continued to wrap it. She said, "Do you think Li Longji will agree with your idea?" "I think that's what he wants us to do. I'll arrange for someone to go over and arrange it in advance," Zhang Xiaobao replied. Chapter 748. The waves slapped against the side of the ship, and the clouds in the day moved with the wind. Under the setting sun, the willows were dyed red. On this evening, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's fleet finally entered the canal. Based on their current speed, they would reach the capital in another 2 days. The splint on Xiao Bei's arm had been removed the day before yesterday. Xiao Bei, who had not washed his arm for a month, would soak it in water when he was free. It was only today that he realized something was wrong. Most of his body was darker than his arm, and his arm was too white. It looked awkward no matter how one looked at it. After asking around, his brother and sister ran to the ship in front to make arrangements. Xiao Bei could only use a thin shirt to cover his arm and ask others for help. Xiao Yuan was showing off his cleverness to others, reciting, "Separate from the turbid, separate from the turbid." Xiao Bei came looking for him. "Brother Xiao Yuan, I have something to ask you." Xiao Bei usually called him Xiao Yuan, but today he added the word brother. Xiao Yuan was shocked and looked at Xiao Bei warily. He then looked around. Luckily, there were people around. He asked, "What's the matter? I won't use the tripwire anymore." "Look at how scared you are," Xiao Bei said when he saw Xiao Yuan's timid look. "Of course not. We're on water. I'm afraid you'll set fire to it." Xiao Yuan did not relax. "Let me test you. Do you know why people can become darker?" Xiao Bei's eyes turned, and he put his hands behind his back, looking knowledgeable. Xiao Yuan nodded and said, "I know. Places where the sun doesn't reach are white. Look, people who often stay indoors are usually white. People who work outside are usually black. Let me give you a pair of binoculars. Look, the person on the boat behind is still sitting in the shade and riding while the sun is setting. He is white. Look again. That person who is struggling in the water is black. It's obvious that he fell into the water by accident. Look at his face. It's black, right? Look at the overturned boat beside him. I see it. Save him. Quickly save him. Someone fell into the water. Team 0. Where's Team 0? Go down. As Xiao Bei listened to Xiao Yuan, he used his binoculars to look back and forth. Suddenly, he realized that the person struggling in the water wasn't swimming. Instead, the boat had capsized. He scanned the surroundings and realized that there was a person dragging 2 people and swimming towards the shore. Xiao Bei was no longer in the mood to turn white or black. She shouted at the people around her. When she shouted, someone on the boat in front of her had already jumped into the water. As the waves churned, they quickly approached the person who had fallen into the water. Seeing that the strong number 0 seedling protection team had met someone, the nervous little ones heaved a sigh of relief and sat on the deck as if they had collapsed. You scare me to death. Xiao Yuan, you just said that it's fine to just bask in the sun, right? If the white parts are tanned, wouldn't the black parts be even darker? Seeing that it was really the members of Team 0, Xiao Bei was no longer worried. Thinking of his own matters, he asked Xiao Yuan. Of course, the more you get under the sun, the darker you get. In the end, you'll be as black as coal. Why do you ask? Xiao Yuan replied. No, nothing. I'm just asking. My clothes aren't comfortable. I'll change. Xiao Bei left in a hurry after saying that. She entered the cabin and sat there thinking for a while. Then, she opened the door and said to the guard outside, Get someone to make me a set of clothes. The kind that doesn't have a sleeve on the right arm. The guard nodded and went to find someone to report. Xiao Bei and the others didn't have a lot of clothes. They grew quickly, so they usually had 3 sets of clothes made every season. As they grew, they would have them made at the same time. Unless the clothes were torn, they would make a set at the last minute to avoid wasting it. This set of clothes that Xiao Bei had suggested needed to be reported. In particular, Xiao Bei's request had to be made known to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The news was quickly passed to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan through flag signals. The 2 of them were waiting for the people from the Miao protection team to rescue them. Fortunately, they had flipped over in the canal. If it had been in the middle of the Yellow River, where the current was the most rapid and there were whirlpools, it would have been difficult to rescue them. After receiving the news, Wang Wan couldn't understand why Xiao Bei wanted a set of clothes that didn't have a right sleeve. However, Zhang Xiaobao smiled and said to Wang Wan, Xiao Bei must have felt that the color of the right arm is different from other parts of the body. I had this thought before, but I didn't get someone to make clothes at that time. Instead, I rolled up my trouser leg. At that time, I thought it was very smart, but now I know it's very stupid. Wang Wan thought about it and felt that it was more or less the case. She smiled and said, Xiao Bei must be very anxious. Think of a way. Then we won't have to make clothes. Okay, after lunch tomorrow, get someone to get some mud and stick it on them. Let them bask in the sun for a day. The color will change to about the same. Zhang Xiaobao came up with an idea. Usually, Xiao Bei and the others would also bask in the sun. Compared to the children who often stayed indoors, they were slightly darker, but healthier. In fact, the little guys had patches of black and white on their bodies. It was just that Xiao Bei's arms, which were originally black, were too white. At this time, the people who had fallen into the water had been brought back. They were a boatman and 3 passengers. They took advantage of the fact that the water transport wasn't too busy to ferry over. They didn't expect that when they were about to reach the shore, they would accidentally overturn. The boatman could only barely save 2 people, and the remaining 1 almost died. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't go to meet the rescued people. The 2 of them looked at the water below and thought about something. After a while, Zhang Xiaobao said, If we provide the local people who ferry back and forth with a bigger boat, can we avoid the danger of the boat capsizing? They can't afford a big boat, even if they work for a lifetime. Wang Wan rejected Zhang Xiaobao's suggestion. Then why don't we lend it to them first and pay them back bit by bit? Zhang Xiaobao said again. Then we'll lose money. Until the big boat breaks down, we won't be able to earn back the capital. Wang Wan looked at Zhang Xiaobao in surprise. She meant to say, Why are you so stupid today? Zhang Xiaobao nodded. That's right. That's why we have to continue with the ferry. But we can't sit on the boat for nothing. It costs at least 1 copper coin per trip. If it costs 1 copper coin per trip, don't you think there will be more people willing to take this route? Then we can only maintain the same income if the number of passengers can double what it is today. What are you thinking of doing? I was just thinking if we should fork out some money to build a bridge here. We don't expect to make money, but we can leave a good reputation. Wang Wan was confused by Zhang Xiaobao's words. She felt that Zhang Xiaobao's thinking had suddenly become sluggish. Zhang Xiaobao continued, What I mean is that we can build the bridge, but we can't let people cross for free. If it's a single trip, we'll charge 1 copper coin per trip. If it's a frequent trip, we can apply for a monthly or annual pass. Not only can people cross, but goods can as well. But if the goods weigh more than 300 caddies, we'll have to pay 1 copper coin more. You want to charge a bridge protection fee? That's a challenge. Have you ever heard of anyone paying to cross the bridge? Wang Wan reminded. Don't use our name. Just find someone. The bridge is easy to build. There's no need to use piers. Just connect the two sides. Use iron chains and board. Both sides don't have to be iron oxen or copper oxen. Pour some cement and put in some pebbles. It's heavy and sturdy. First, arrange a few people to guard both sides of the bridge. If there's a situation where people don't pay and run away, it's enough to guard one side. If there are children who need to run between the two sides to go to school in the future, this can be free, but the children can't carry too many things. This price is cheaper than the ferry, right? Moreover, it's safer. When the time comes, people can choose to walk or take the ferry. Little by little, the people will accept the fact that crossing the bridge costs money. When the time comes, the road will be the same. Actually, we can't make much money by building roads now. If we were to build roads in prosperous areas, we would be able to earn money by opening shops by the roadside. If there weren't many people, we would just be spending money. Once the commoners were used to spending money to cross the bridge, we would build more roads. We would build new roads beside the old roads. Every time we walked, we would have to spend money. Those who didn't want to spend money could walk on the old roads. Naturally, the speed would not be as fast as the new roads. Furthermore, those who walked on the new roads would be able to rest for free in the small houses built by the roadside. When the time comes, you'll have to make up for it. The most important thing in the service area is to provide hot water. As long as the people in the caravan come, they'll be provided with a pot of hot water. If they're pedestrians, they can't ask for money. Zhang Xiaobao explained his idea while Wang Wan listened at the side. When Zhang Xiaobao finished, Wang Wan asked, What if someone crosses the old road to the new road and returns to the old road when they're almost there? What will you do? Let the people in the service area watch. Usually, there will be a service area set up every half a day. The hot water and rest are free, but you must have a pass to come here. However, other things are not free, such as medicine, dry food, tools needed to repair vehicles, etc., are not free. Occasionally, we'll send people to patrol on horseback. If they catch them, they'll have to pay double the money. If they don't pay, we'll take away their goods and not give them money. Zhang Xiaobao felt that he had too much money in the future and couldn't spend it all at once. He planned to use it on road repair and collect tolls. It was likely that because there were few people coming and going, there wouldn't be much money left after deducting the maintenance fees. However, it was better than having no money at all. Otherwise, he would have to build more roads in the future. It would be better if he could get some money back. Wang Wan lowered her head and thought for a moment, then asked, Do you think it'll work? How do I know? Let's try it first. If it doesn't work, we'll talk about it later. What if it works? Let's build the bridge first. We'll start with the bridge and arrange for people to do it immediately. Zhang Xiaobao made up his mind and asked his people to come in and arrange it. Wang Wan said, Why don't you try the bridge on the Changjiang River first? That won't work. That's not our home. Besides, there are too many people coming and going there. What if someone is dissatisfied and makes trouble? It's a deep-rooted idea to not spend money on the bridge. Even businessmen think so. They don't care how much it costs to build bridges and roads. Let's start with a place with fewer people first. Chapter 749. Zhang Xiaobao really did arrange for people to do it. Building this kind of bridge was very fast. First, people would use boats to pull the hemp rope across. When the time came, both sides would be stretched, and the hemp rope would be gradually thicker. When a certain thickness was reached, one end would be replaced with an iron chain. When the time came, both sides would be fixed and wooden planks would be laid. It would probably take less than half a month. As long as one was willing to spend money, there was no need to worry about not being able to make the iron chain. At that time, the price would be half of the ferry price. If the ferry lowered the price for transporting goods, the bridge would also lower the price. It was necessary to let the people know that it was safer, faster, and cheaper to cross the river than to cross the bridge. Of course, at this time, Zhang Xiaobao did not forget the impact of the bridge on the ferry industry. He was prepared to wait for the people to get used to the bridge before letting the ferrymen stop what they were doing and come over to help guard the bridge. Some people were willing to change careers to fishing. After arranging everything, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan returned to the boat behind Xiaobei, and the others were on. Previously, they had been discussing the details of the emperor's travel expenses with Old Man Pai and the others. As soon as they returned to the boat, Xiaobei came over angrily. "What's wrong, Xiaobei? Did someone bully our Xiaobei? Why are you unhappy?" Zhang Xiaobao crouched down and opened his arms. Xiaobei was still angry, but he did not refuse his brother's embrace. He leaned on his brother's arm and said, "It's you. I asked someone to make the clothes, but you didn't let me." "Really? There was such a thing?" Xiaobei, when you mentioned the clothes, I just remembered that my back is wider than my front. What should I do? I was worried, but in the end, your sister was the best. Guess what she thought of?" Zhang Xiaobao indeed did not agree. At this time, he pretended not to know. He changed the topic and began to talk about his own matters. As expected, Xiaobei's goal was not the clothes. Hearing his brother's words, he blinked his big eyes and asked, "Really? Really? If you don't believe me, Xiaobei, look. Is my back wider than my front?" As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he put the clothes in his pocket for Xiaobei to see. There were faint ink marks on his chest and dirt. Xiaobei looked around and nodded. "It's true. What idea did you come up with?" "I won't tell you for now. Let everyone guess. There will be a prize for guessing right. Go, get little Yuan and the rest here." Zhang Xiaobao said to Xiaobei. When Xiaobei happily ran over to call for help, Zhang Xiaobao slapped his body with all his might. The mud sticking to his body was too uncomfortable. Wang Wan finally couldn't help but laugh. She said to Zhang Xiaobao, "I really don't know what you're thinking. You could have just told Xiaobei what happened tomorrow. Why do you have to torment yourself like this? That won't do. To you and me, this is a small matter that can't be any smaller. But to children, this is a huge matter. Many children, when they grow up, their earliest memories stop at the age of 5 or 6. Do you know why? One reason is because there are problems with brain development when they are young. The other reason is that before the age of 5 or 6, they always live the same life. What they do every day doesn't change much. Adults who don't understand this logic want their children to be more stable and obedient in order to save trouble. Any obedient child is a good child. Many people think this way, but it's actually very selfish. Children are independent from the moment they appear in this world. They belong to themselves. Raising them isn't the same as restricting them. I can't control others, but I can control Xiaobei and the rest. I'll let them have a lively and colorful childhood. Children are the continuation of adults' hopes, but they are definitely not the inheritance of adults' personalities. Adults who want their children to realize their unrealized ideas are unqualified adults. Zhang Xiaobao said seriously to Wang Wan. This was what he thought, and it was exactly what he did. Wang Wan and Wei Wei smiled. Then let's hold a discussion for them. How can we make a white place turn black, or make a black place turn white? You're right. Children also have their own dreams. We just need to provide them with the environment to create their dreams as much as possible. They're not another Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The innocent Xiaobei didn't know how much effort his brother and sister had put in for them. He was happy to find Xiao Yuan, Xiao Zhu, and Xiao Hai. He didn't forget to pull the Nan, Xiao Nan, and the other 3 people. The group of little guys ran over to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The discussion of black becoming white and white becoming black began just like that. 2 days later, when the color of Xiao Bei's right arm was about the same as the color of his left arm, the group finally entered the capital. Old Man Pai and the other 2 people went to the Joy House to rest, while Zhang Xiaobao led the group of little guys into the imperial palace. The guards sent them to the door and stopped. The group of little guys put on cute and beautiful clothes and followed closely behind Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. They walked all the way to Xingqing Palace curiously. Li Longji, who had been waiting for a long time, asked people to prepare a lot of snacks and juice. He changed into casual clothes and glanced at the entrance of the palace from time to time. Xiao Bei and the others. The boy wore a black tuxedo with a white flowery shirt and a bow tie. The girl wore a princess dress with a beautiful bow tie in front of her chest. There was no need for people to announce their arrival. They directly entered the palace. As soon as they saw each other, they began to greet according to the etiquette taught by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Naturally, there was no cupping of one's fist or kneeling. The boy put one hand on his chest and bowed. The girl just squatted and bowed. They said together, "We greet Imperial Uncle." Li Longji had never seen such a fun thing before. Looking at the serious looks on the faces of these little fellows, he couldn't hold it in any longer. He stood up and walked forward while saying, "Rise, rise. Come, let Uncle take a good look." Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan hadn't bowed yet. When they saw Li Longji coming over, they treated it as if they had already bowed. Wang Wan stood beside her younger brother and sister to accompany them. Zhang Xiaobao ran to Gao Lishi's side and took out a bag of small abalones that he had made. He said, "Adoptive father, we came in a hurry and didn't prepare any other gifts. Eat some abalones." Gao Lishi didn't care about what Zhang Xiaobao wanted to give him. He didn't lack money. As long as he saw his adopted son, he would be happy. He took the small abalones and asked Zhang Xiaobao, "My son, Xiao Bei, and the others' clothes. I made them for fun. Don't they look good on you?" Zhang Xiaobao replied, "They look good, just like the dolls you sell." Xi and Air and the others didn't come. Gao Lishi looked at Xiao Bei and the others and also liked them. Children were always so fun, especially children who pretended to be adults. It was even more interesting. Xi and Air and the others originally followed the emperor to the capital, but they didn't want to enter the palace and went to work in their shop. They have a doll shop here. When the emperor goes to Jinyang, they will follow him. Zhang Xiaobao replied. At this time, Li Longji didn't care about Zhang Xiaobao and Gao Lishi. He hugged and kissed them one by one. He found that they were even more fun than his own children. When his children saw him, they were usually very scared. Some even felt that he was a stranger. This group of little guys was different. Each and every one of them was obedient and not afraid of strangers. They always had a smile on their faces. It was very pleasing to see. After kissing each of them once, Li Longji stood up and took Xiao Bei's hand. He asked, "Xiao Bei, I heard that you dared to wear official robes without my permission. Do you know your crime?" If Li Longji asked other children, they might not know what to say. However, he chose Xiao Bei. Xiao Bei was the most sociable. After hearing Li Longji's words, Xiao Bei wasn't afraid at all. Instead, he showed a nervous expression. He blinked his big eyes and said, "Can I only wear it with Uncle Emperor's permission?" "Of course," Li Longji replied with a straight face. Xiao Bei and Uncle Emperor should discuss it and allow Xiao Bei and the others to wear it. Xiao Bei was injured last month and it hurts a lot. Uncle Emperor, what do you think? As Xiao Bei spoke, he felt so wrong that he was about to cry. His eyes were red. Li Longji just wanted to joke. When he saw that Xiao Bei was about to cry, he immediately nodded and agreed. "Okay, Xiao Bei, if you want to wear it, then wear it. I have agreed. I will let you wear it. Thank you for your kindness, Your Majesty." This time, there was no need for anyone to tell them. The children, who always listened to stories from their older brothers and sisters, used the words that often appeared in other dynasties and bowed to Li Longji. Li Longji was stunned at first. After pondering for a while, he felt that these 4 words were quite good. They sounded very comfortable and should be thanking him for his kindness. He hurriedly said, "You may dispense with the formalities. Xiao Bei, tell Uncle Emperor, how did you get injured? Does it still hurt?" "It doesn't hurt anymore. It doesn't hurt anymore after Big Brother blows on it. It's more or less healed. It's just that I can't bruise it anymore and can't use too much force. I have to continue recuperating for another month." "Uncle Emperor, are we still going to prepare the goldfish pouch and official robes ourselves?" Xiao Bei obediently shook his head and waved his arms to show that he was almost healed. He then asked one last question. Li Longji was stunned. "What goldfish pouch?" "Becoming an official. Uncle Emperor personally agreed to confer us an official. We have already thanked you," Xiao Bei said with a look that said, "Are you going to go back on your word? Confer an official? Confer what official?" Li Longji was even more confused. Disbanded officials. Lower third rank and fourth rank disbanded officials, just like Big Brother and Big Sister. Last time, Xiao Bei was wearing a third rank official robe because Big Sister was wearing it. Big Brother was wearing a fourth rank official robe, so Big Brother Xiao Yuan and the others were also wearing fourth rank official robes. "Uncle Emperor, you just said that you will allow us to wear this robe. So naturally, we have to have an official." "Uncle Emperor, you can rest assured. Xiao Bei doesn't care if you want an official robe and goldfish pouch. Xiao Bei can prepare them myself. Really, Big Brother Xiao Yuan and the others are the same. Isn't that right, Xiao Yuan?" Xiao Bei tried his best to fight for his own benefits. He finally caught Li Longji saying the wrong thing. A monarch's words were not to be taken lightly. The opportunity was right in front of him. Xiao Yuan and the others weren't stupid and immediately thanked him again. However, Li Longji was dumbfounded. He was just teasing his children. How could he give away a bunch of third rank and fourth rank officials? If he really gave them away, that would be terrible. Chapter 750. Just when Li Longji didn't know what to say, Xiao Bao said, "Xiao Bei, why are you so insensible? Uncle Emperor is just joking with you. You didn't do anything. If he really gave you a third or fourth rank official, how would the officials in the world be convinced? I'm not like a sixth or seventh rank official. It's fine no matter how many ranks you get. Is it so easy to get a third or fourth rank official? Your sister and I used our lives to get those positions. Why aren't you apologizing?" Xiao Bei looked at his brother in confusion. Suddenly, he saw his brother winking at him. He remembered what his brother said and immediately said, "Uncle Emperor, Xiao Bei didn't put his life on the line. I don't want a sixth or seventh rank official position. I'll ask for one after I try. From today onwards, I won't wear an official uniform anymore, even if it looks good." Li Longji really couldn't give Xiao Bei and the others such a high-rank official. Just as he was thinking of a way to change the topic, Zhang Xiaobao's words settled the matter. It didn't seem to be a good idea whether he was given a rank or not. When he wanted to turn around and give Gao Lishir a look, Xiao Yuan in the crowd also cooperated and said to Gao Lishir, "Brother Xiao Hai, actually, I think it's okay to have a seventh rank official. At most, when no one is looking, you can still wear purple clothes. When you meet an official, you can change into a seventh rank uniform." When the little guys heard Xiao Yuan's words, they all looked at Li Longji with yearning. Xiao Bei also said as if he was talking to himself, "Can a seventh rank official be given? Your Majesty, on the way here, I discussed with County Deputy Wang. We're going to use some money to build a few bridges between the Yellow River and the Tsaotu Canal. We hope your Majesty will agree." At this time, Zhang Xiaobao spoke again. When Li Longji heard Zhang Xiaobao's words and looked at County Deputy Wang standing there with a smile, he finally knew what to do. "I didn't expect Minister Zhang to have such a plan. Okay, I agree. I hope Minister Zhang and Minister Wang can build the bridges firmly. Xiao Bei, if a third or fourth rank official is really not enough, I have a seventh rank official. How about I give you the title of Zhigua Commandant? He is a 7th grade Wu San official." Li Longji originally didn't want to give Xiao Bei and the others any official positions, but when Zhang Xiaobao said that he wanted to build a few more bridges, it played a key role. After weighing the money needed to build the bridges and then considering the salary of a 7th rank official, He had no choice but to agree to it. Thank you, Uncle Emperor. Xiaobei knows that Uncle Emperor doesn't have much money. Xiaobei doesn't care about what Uncle Emperor wants. I'll go back and do it myself. Uncle Emperor, we're both 7th ranked. How can Xiaobei care about others? This time, Xiaobei didn't follow her brother's instructions. She said whatever came to her mind. Of course, not to mention a rank 7 official, even a rank 1 official. As long as he makes a mistake, Xiaobei, you just have to take care of him. Uncle will help you, so there's no need to be afraid. Li Longji said in his heart. If you encounter an official who bullies you, you don't need to be an official. Your brother and sister will take care of them. Who dares to bully you? I almost lost a rank 3 or rank 4 official as soon as I met him. Xiaobei nodded happily. Suddenly, she put on a straight face and said, I impeached the county magistrate of Yongle County. I don't know what his name is, but he asked the refugees to come over and help with farming. He said that he would give the refugees farmland, but after the spring plowing, he began to drive them away. When I passed by Yongle County on the boat, I gave some of the refugees food. I impeach him. When Xiaobei said this, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were stunned. The two of them really didn't know about this matter. During those few days, the two of them had been discussing the details of the Emperor's travels with Old Man Pai and the others. They only heard the servants report that Xiaobei gave people food when they were resting at the docks. This was very normal. There were many poor people, and Xiaobei liked to give people things. He didn't give a lot, but it was very useful. They didn't expect that when the boat stopped at Yongle County, when they were about to enter the canal, there would be such a thing. If they had known about this situation, they would have dealt with it themselves. Xiao Hai and the others also nodded to prove it. Xiaobei, Lieutenant Jigua, is what you said true? Li Longji asked Xiaobei, but his eyes were looking at Wang Wan. Wang Wan quickly thought about it and felt that Xiaobei and the others couldn't be lying, so she nodded and said, I think it's about right. Send someone to check. Li Longji narrowed his eyes. If it was someone else impeaching, he could consider why the county magistrate did this and who was behind it. But today it was Xiaobei, a 3-year-old child, who was impeaching. For a group of children to remember something so clearly, no matter if the county magistrate didn't do a good job or didn't hide it well, he couldn't be let off lightly. Li Shi, who do you think should investigate this? Li Longji wasn't going to let this county magistrate go. Yongle County was too close to the capital. Today, the cute little fellows had joined hands to impeach the county magistrate as soon as he became an official. How big of a matter was it to make these sensible and well-behaved little fellows hate it so much? Hearing this, Gao Lishir thought for a moment and replied, I think it's better for the crown prince to personally handle this matter. With this, Li Longji understood which side the county magistrate of Yongle County stood on. He looked at Gao Lishir with praise and said, Li Shi, you go arrange this matter. I understand. Gao Lishir replied. Zhang Xiaobao also felt sad for the county magistrate of Yongle County. The county magistrate of Yongle County probably didn't know what happened until he died, let alone that he fell at the hands of a group of 3-year-old children. Xiaobei and the others were happy. Xiaobei waved her little fist and said to Li Longji, Uncle Emperor is really a good emperor. That county magistrate is really bad. Oh, when I gave the refugees food to eat, it was such a big steam bun that one person could eat 3 of them. Uncle Emperor, how hungry do you think they are? Li Shi, tell the crown prince to handle this matter strictly. Li Longji's face darkened. What kind of lie could a 3-year-old child say? Seeing Xiaobei gesturing at the big steam bun, he added another order to Gao Lishir. Gao Lishir nodded and immediately went to find the crown prince. He didn't forget to look at Xiaobei and the other little fellows. He thought to himself that the people from the Zhang family and Wang family were all killers of officials. They already knew how to impeach at such a young age. If they grew up in a few years, they probably wouldn't have a good time with any corrupt officials they met. Xiaobei, you have contributed to the impeachment. What reward do you want? Li Longji pulled Xiaobei in front of him and kissed her. Xiaobei blinked her eyes. For a moment, she didn't know what to say. She wanted more benefits, but she felt that it was impossible. Where her brother came, He said that she couldn't casually ask for anything else. After thinking for a while, just as Li Longji was about to help her out, Xiao Bei finally spoke. Xiao Bei doesn't want any reward. I just want Uncle Emperor to let the people of Great Tang live good lives. This was what Xiao Bei often said when she played with the children in the county. At this moment, she was using it. If it were an adult, Zhang Xiaobao, or Wang Wan who said this, Li Longji would praise them and then say some official words. After all, it was too difficult to let the people of Great Tang live good lives. It involved more than just money. But when these words came out of Xiao Bei's mouth, Li Longji was moved. Children were always the most innocent. Whatever the adults said, the children would listen. For her to say such words meant that the adults in her family had taught her a lot. Hearing Xiao Bei's words and thinking about what the Zhang family and Wang family had done over the years, Li Longji sighed and said to Xiao Bei, "How about this? There are many things that we cannot see or hear. How about I appoint you as imperial governors? If you meet someone that both of you think can be impeached, you can impeach that person. There is no official position of imperial governor, but they could be imperial governors. This could be said to have a rank, but there were no normal ranks. This was because all imperial governors could be called governors, but they didn't have a rank. Starting from rank 3 to rank 9, all imperial governors could be called governors. What Li Longji meant was that he had given the Zhang family and Wang family the power to impeach others without a rank. When an imperial governor impeached someone, it didn't matter even if the impeachment was wrong. Other than sending people to investigate, the person who was impeached would have to provide evidence himself. If it was only an imperial governor, then the impeachment would be carried out in the imperial court. If it was a local imperial governor, then the impeachment would be carried out at different levels. Now that they had this imperial governor, then the Zhang family and Wang family could carry out the impeachment to the provincial government first. If the provincial government didn't do anything or didn't investigate, then they could immediately carry out a cross-level impeachment to the capital. They could also impeach the local imperial governor. If they used this well, they could directly find out the person behind the local imperial governor, and it would be a legitimate one. Xiao Bei didn't understand what this meant. He only knew that in the future, he could take care of things that he didn't like. If the other party's official position was high, then he could get Xiao Yuan and the others to work together. Even if it was the title of imperial governor, they could impeach the high-ranking official. Uncle Emperor, Xiao Bei will definitely take good care of others. As long as I see someone bullying the common people, I will deal with him. If he dares to fight back, I will let Big Brother and Big Sister beat him up. Xiao Bei took the initiative to kiss Li Longji, making a promise to Li Longji. That's right. If anyone dares to bully Xiao Bei, we will let Xiao Bei's Big Brother and Big Sister beat him up. Ha ha ha. Li Longji picked Xiao Bei up and spun him around, then laughed loudly and put him down. Li Longji was really too happy today. It wasn't because of the official, but because of Xiao Bei's words that would let the common people of Tang live a good life. Since the Zhang family and Wang family could teach Xiao Bei like this, it was reassuring. The most frightening thing was that the Zhang family and Wang family betrayed him. If other people betrayed him, he could send troops to suppress them, and there wouldn't be many losses. However, if the Zhang family and Wang family betrayed him, then the consequences would be unimaginable. The surrounding palace maids and eunuchs also heard this conversation. Some were impressed, some felt that Xiao Bei and the others were cute, and some felt that Zhang family and Wang family were good. However, all of them had the same thought, and that was that in the future, unless the emperor personally gave the order, no one would dare to provoke the Zhang family and Wang family. Chapter 751. Li Longji happily ate a meal with Zhang Xiaobao and his younger siblings. The meal was not bad. The little ones were not like the others who were reserved and did not dare to eat. They ate enthusiastically, causing Li Longji to eat a lot as well. At night, Zhang Xiaobao and the others naturally had to go back. Xiao Bei and the others all received a set of 7th-ranked robes and an additional goldfish bag. This was given to them because Xiao Bei said that it looked good. Li Longji was finally generous for once. It was not easy. During the meal, Zhang Xiaobao kept talking about where to build the bridge. Compared to the price of the bridge, this temporary set of official robes was much cheaper. The guards guarding the door had not been changed yet. When they saw that the group of people who went in was a group of officials when they came back, they were all dumbfounded. The 7th-ranked official robes were worn by a group of children. If they were not in the palace, they would definitely think that someone was wearing them blindly. How many people might not be able to reach the 7th-ranked in their entire lives? There were many 8th-ranked and 9th-ranked officials. Some of them even passed the imperial examinations and were still 8th-ranked officials in their old age. Were the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family so powerful that they could become officials just by coming in and coming out? Of course, these guards did not know that as soon as Xiao Bei became an official, he had already impeached the Yongle County Magistrate. He had already sent people over and was waiting for the county magistrate to provide evidence himself. This time, there was really an official, not the kind who wore clothes to pretend. Xiao Bei was so happy that he did not want to take the carriage and insisted on walking to the savant's restaurant. The official robes were really beautiful on him. Zhang Xiaobao thought about it and did not object. It was a good opportunity to let the people in the capital know how powerful the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family were. Now, both families were officials, even to Nan and the others. After walking for more than 2 hours, when they were about to reach the savant's restaurant, Xiao Bei and the others were still so excited that they did not feel tired at all. They ran up and down the street, causing the officials who occasionally passed by to give way. Even the 4th-ranked and 5th-ranked officials did not dare to compete with Xiao Bei and the others. That had nothing to do with the rank of the official. Even though Xiao Bei and the others were 7th-rank officials, their goldfish bags and age had already explained the problem. A 3-year-old 7th-rank official versus a 40-year-old 5th-rank official. Who was more powerful? When they arrived at Savant's restaurant, Old Man Pai and the other two were stunned when they saw Xiao Bei's official robes. Grandpa Bai, have you eaten? Today, Big Brother said that he was going to cook a table full of dishes for us, Xiao Bei said as he skipped in front of Old Man Pai and opened his arms to let him hug him. Old Man Pai picked Xiao Bei up and carefully looked at his clothes and goldfish bag. He asked, Xiao Bei, when did you change your clothes? I changed them after I saw Uncle Emperor. I am now a 7th-rank official, the kind that is scattered. Together with them, we are the Imperial Censor Governor. When we came back, Big Brother said that we can impeach from the bottom up. If the people below us make a mistake, as long as the people above us don't immediately take care of it, we can impeach the people above us all the way to the capital. Isn't that awesome? Xiao Huai hugged Old Man Pai's neck and said with a smile. Old Man Pai was stunned for a moment. He looked at the clothes of the other little guys and nodded numbly. Awesome, really awesome. Did His Majesty give you all scattered officials? A 7th-rank official, and he gave you the title of Imperial Censor Governor? Yes, Uncle Emperor is awesome. I personally impeached the Yongle County Magistrate. I don't even know his surname yet, but Uncle Emperor asked Uncle Gao to find that crown prince to investigate. That day, I gave out more than 1,000 steam buns and many salted vegetables. That Yongle County Magistrate deserved to die. Xiao Bei nodded in response. He even said the question that Old Man Pai didn't ask. Hearing Xiao Bei's words, Old Man Pai sighed and began to mourn for the Yongle County Magistrate. He could have offended anyone, but why did he have to be targeted by the Zhang family and the Wang family? At this time, the waiter of Savant's restaurant also heard Xiao Bei's words and saw the official robes that Xiao Bei and the others were wearing. He changed his original calm and smiling appearance and shouted loudly, "Ah!" and ran into the restaurant. Miss Xiao Bei and the others are officials now. Shopkeeper, Miss Xiao Bei and the others have come back from the palace wearing the 7th-rank official robes. Quickly get someone to prepare delicious food. Miss Xiao Bei likes to eat garlic and cucumbers. There were still many customers eating in the restaurant. When they heard the waiter shouting like this, they were first surprised because the waiter of Savant's restaurant had always been very steady. Then they were angry. Did a 7th-rank official have to be like this? In a place like the capital, was a seventh-rank official considered an official? However, when Xiao Bei and the others came in wearing official robes, the customers who were dissatisfied with the waiter who shouted and shouted just now all shut their mouths. The people eating could tell at a glance that they were 3 or 4 years old children. Then they thought about what the waiter said just now. They came from the palace. Motherfucker, a 3 or 4-year-old child is a 7th-rank official. Motherfucker, how can we live? Motherfucker, I'm not jealous, it's really motherfucker. Immediately, a person eating noodles on the first floor softly shouted. The other customers were also stunned. A 7th-rank official was not rare in the capital, but a 3 or 4-year-old child becoming a 7th-rank official was no longer a problem in the capital. They knew that there was a high-ranking official, but they couldn't immediately become one at such a young age. Even if they were high-ranking officials, they couldn't be high-ranking officials at the same time. How many high-ranking officials could be high-ranking officials? Moreover, there were also the goldfish bags that the children were playing with in their hands. Since they came from the palace, it naturally couldn't be fake. After receiving the news, the shopkeeper of Savant's restaurant also hurried over. When he saw the 7th-rank official robes and goldfish bags on Xiao Bei and the others, he suddenly cried. With a plop, he knelt in front of Xiao Bei and sobbed. The heavens have eyes. My Zhang family and Wang family don't have to worry anymore. Xiao Bei, what do you want to eat? Uncle Zhang, don't be like this. Quickly get up. I'll eat whatever Uncle Zhang makes. The happy Xiao Bei was shocked. He stretched out his arm and tried to help the kneeling shopkeeper up. The shopkeeper, who didn't want to get up, suddenly remembered that Xiao Bei's arm had just been injured some time ago. He was afraid that it would be damaged again, so he immediately stood up and wiped his tears. He asked Xiao Bei, your official is? The people around them, who were eating, also craned their necks to listen. Uncle Emperor gave it to me. Originally, I wanted a 3rd-rank or 4th-rank official, but Big Brother said that the official position was too high. First, I asked for a lower rank, and now I have a 7th-rank official. A disbanded official who doesn't keep his word. If it was Big Brother and Big Sister who impeached him, there wouldn't even be a need to investigate. When Xiao Bei was supporting the shopkeeper, she was hugged by the shopkeeper, who stood up. She pouted and explained to the shopkeeper regretfully. The shopkeeper used his other hand to pinch himself hard. After he woke up, he nodded and said to Xiao Bei, "That's right. Xiao Bei, you can't be arrogant. It's really unreasonable for someone to investigate a mere county magistrate. Who is going to investigate? Do we need Savant's restaurant to help us inform them?" The shopkeeper thought that the little young master and Xiao Bei were using Xiao Bei to impeach him. So when he asked Xiao Bei, he was asking Zhang Xiaobao if he should help. Savant's restaurant was not small now. When Zhang Xiaobao saw the shopkeeper looking over, he shook his head and said, "There's no need. Cuckoo, and I don't know about this matter. His Majesty has already asked the Crown Prince to investigate. Xiao Bei's dish will be braised beef marrow today. Go and arrange it." Yes. The shopkeeper put Xiao Bei down and turned to greet them. However, there was a storm in his heart. From the little young master's words just now, he knew that Xiao Bei's impeachment had directly bypassed the little young master and Xiao Bei. In the end, the emperor was angry and asked the crown prince to control his own people. Not all the people eating there did not understand anything. Some people even recognized Zhang Xiaobao. When they saw him and heard what he said, they immediately understood what was going on. He had brought his younger siblings to the imperial palace, and when they came back, they were all officials. The people eating on the first floor finally learned something. It was the first time they had heard of a 3 to 4-year-old 7th-rank official. Of course, they did not know that Xiao Bei was actually not 3 years old. It was just that he was usually trained well and had enough nutrition, so he was a little older. Xiao Bei happily smiled sweetly at the people eating around him and prepared to go upstairs. Savant's restaurant was originally 3 floors, but now it was 4. The space on the 4th floor was a little smaller, only half the size of the 3 floors below. After all, it had not been rebuilt yet. It was all wood, so the space on the 4th floor could not be too big. When Xiao Bei returned home, He wanted to go to the fourth floor to eat, but just as he reached the stairs, he was brushed by someone who ran down. Xiao Bei dodged quickly. The person who bumped into Xiao Bei seemed to have drunk a little too much and did not notice at all. Who asked Xiao Bei to be short? This person still wanted to walk outside, but just as he took a step, an arrow was nailed to his left and right legs. Then Xiao Yuan shouted, "Kill!" and a group of children rushed forward to kick and hit this person. Although Xiao Yuan and the others did not have much strength, the places they kicked were very particular. They kicked below the ribs, between the legs, above the ears, and the temples. They had learned all this from their siblings. Fortunately, no one stabbed the back of the neck with that sharp object. That would be fatal. The person lying on the ground could not feel the kicks of others. He was lying on his stomach, and the arrow from earlier was still stuck in his leg. When he fell, a lot of it went in again. The back half of the arrow outside was broken, and the arrow shaft with a blood groove was constantly bleeding. Xiao Yuan, come back. Zhang Xiaobao stared at the person lying on the ground and shouted. Xiao Yuan waited for the person who wanted to avenge Xiao Bei to come back. Zhang Xiaobao reached out and took the pliers from Wang Wan. He flipped the person over and pinched the arrow out of his leg. He thought for a moment and said, "We were too anxious just now and injured you. We will immediately send you to get medical treatment. If you miss work, we will also compensate. You are all dead." Do you know who I am? Do you know who I am? You're all finished. It doesn't matter how much money you spend. First, it was a child who dared to block my way. Next, it was you who used force. You could just wait for death. The person lying there gritted his teeth and said. Zhang Xiaobao, who had just apologized and was preparing to compensate and take responsibility, was suddenly stunned when he heard this person's words. He asked, "So you said that you saw someone deliberately bump into you in front of you? May I ask who you are? Prince? Marquis? I did on purpose. There is no need for a prince or marquis. I alone am enough to deal with you. I am Yuan Rong's advisor. Right now, the master is eating upstairs. You are all dead." The person lying on the ground continued to speak arrogantly. Zhang Xiaobao closed his eyes and said helplessly, "Why are there so many problems? Advisor, right? Yuan Rong. Isn't he busy settling the refugees? How could he let you come and cause trouble? Could it be that he doesn't care about what happened in Xian Kai County at all?" As Zhang Xiaobao spoke, he pulled out the 2 arrow sleeves. Following the person's scream, he reached out and took the medicine from Wang Wan. He poured on the person's wound and said, "This matter is not entirely my fault. You bumped into my little sister, so I acted. I was indeed a little anxious. However, you clearly saw someone bumping into you. How about we call it even? Are you dreaming? You hurt me, so I will let you know my power." The person lying on the ground endured the pain and continued to shout. "Then I can only offend one more person. You and Rome, right? Good. Men, invite him down." Also, this person tried to murder an official of the imperial court, but was accidentally seen through by the official. He wanted to frame Yuan Rong, drag him to the backyard, and interrogate him. Zhang Xiaobao didn't expect things to turn out like this. However, since he bumped into his little sister and still spoke like this, then he couldn't be blamed for being ruthless. While Zhang Xiaobao was making his decision, Huayuan County was very lively. Many chefs had gathered here, and all of them wanted to show off their skills. As long as they could gain a reputation, then their value would increase in the future. Of course, the restaurants that wanted to invite them to work would have to fork out more money. Although only the chefs from around Jiangxi province had come, there were still a lot of people. In order to let the chefs in their county win more glory, many counties insisted that several chefs be tied for first place in the regional competition. In this way, the first place could go, and there would be a lot of people in a short time. Empress Wang had been living more comfortably these days. The recuperation place on Yaowang Mountain was even better than the Four Seasons workshop below. Today was the day of the competition. In order to help the Zhang family and the Wang family, Empress Wang also came out to take a look. When the time came, she would deliberately find a chef from the Zhang family and the Wang family to say that the dishes were good. Wu Huifei, who was about to go back, also came out today. She wasn't thinking about how to help the Zhang family and the Wang family. Instead, she was thinking about how to find fault with the Zhang family and the Wang family. It might be difficult to find fault with the craftsman, but it was easy to find fault with the chef's dishes. If you added just enough salt, I could say that it was bland or salty. If you added too much salt, I could say that it was bitter. If you added too little salt, I could say that it was bland and tasteless. For others, more salt would be refreshing, and less salt would be refreshing. Anyway, she could pick whatever she wanted. How could she, an imperial concubine, not be able to do this? It was nothing more than a competition with Empress Wang. Thinking of Empress Wang, Wu Huifei asked the person beside her, "Have you done what I asked you to do?" In reply to Your Highness, it has been arranged. As long as Empress Wang says something, someone will naturally carry out her plan. Your Highness, you can rest assured. Wu Huifei nodded with satisfaction. That's good. Let's go over there and have a look. When Wu Huifei arrived at the competition venue, Empress Wang followed her. Similarly, Empress Wang was also guarding against Wu Huifei. She asked the person beside her, "Xiao Zhu, do you think we really don't need to arrange for others to help?" Your Highness, I don't think so. Miss Wang, one has already sent someone to send us a letter. She asked us to just take a look. Of course, we shouldn't be biased towards the chefs of the Zhang family and the Wang family. We should also evaluate the truly good chefs. The Zhang family and the Wang family don't need this competition to make a name for themselves. What they value is talent, Xiao Zhu said to Xiao Zhu. In fact, she was also a little nervous. After all, what they were going to face today was different from before. When it came to food, no one could say that good was good. It was just that the taste was different. Empress Wang picked up the honey water beside her, took a small sip, and said, "If that's the case, then make the arrangements. Let our people help out when the time comes." While the two sides were competing, the commoners didn't know that the commoners who came all wanted to see how good the chefs were. Of course, it would be even better if they could have a taste. However, many of the commoners knew that it wasn't their turn to have a taste. Originally, there wouldn't be many chefs competing. This was because each county planned to win with fewer chefs. The number of chefs from the surrounding counties had actually reached 400. Some of them were indeed very capable, while some were slightly weaker. This was because during the selection by the county, they would compete on the front content, such as seafood, meat, vegetables, noodles, and so on. Each category required points. Therefore, when the chefs with specialties competed, even if their points were slightly lower, they would still be recognized by the county. Seeing that all the chefs were present, the person in charge of hosting held a loudspeaker made of iron sheets in his hand and shouted to the people around him, "Everyone, please be quiet. Don't make any more noise. Listen to me. Please be quiet." After shouting continuously, the commoners who were excitedly talking about what they wanted to say finally shut up. Even so, there were still people whispering to others. The host couldn't make everyone stop talking. Seeing that the voices were not as loud as before, he continued, "Everyone, today is the day of the chef's competition in Jiangxi province and the surrounding counties. We are lucky to have invited the current Tang Empire's Empress Wang and Wu Huifei. Now let's welcome them." If these words were said in a place where the Zhang family and the Wang family had not been, the commoners really didn't know how to express themselves. However, the commoners in Huayuan County understood. As soon as they heard the host's words, they immediately clapped hard and didn't stop for a long time. At this time, the host hesitated at this time, but still said boldly, "Let's invite Wu Huifei to say a few words." Wu Huifei was stunned at first. She didn't expect the host here to be so bold. After thinking about it, she stood up and took the loudspeaker from the host. She said to the people around her, "I'm here to take a look to see the good chef of Tang Dynasty. I'll try it when the time comes. Work hard." Wu Huifei, who really didn't know what to say at this time, said a few words casually at this time. In fact, she also knew that the others didn't care what she said, as long as she said something. Sure enough, after she said such useless words, there was a burst of applause. Perhaps even the people who clapped didn't know why they were clapping. After Wu Huifei finished speaking, the host wanted to immediately start the competition, but suddenly remembered that there was a more powerful person. If he directly announced the competition, it was estimated that his head would be moved in less than a quarter of an hour. So he said, Wu Huifei has just said a few words to us. Now, let's invite Empress Wang to say a few words. Empress Wang had been ready for a long time. She even had Wang Wan's speech in her hand. She had memorized it. She was afraid that she would forget the words in her hand, so she could read it when the time came. After standing up, she took the speaker and said to the surrounding people, First of all, I would like to congratulate the emergence of this chef's competition. You know, from the beginning of Tang Empire until now, there has been no special chef's competition. This is a pioneering thing in the chef's industry, a magnificent feat that can let the majority of people taste the essence of delicacies. At the same time, it was not easy for Empress Wang to memorize Wang Wan's speech of 15,000 words. Although it was just a chef's competition, it included politics, military affairs, literature, art, and national relations. The people who were watching the fun were dumbfounded. If it were people like Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, they would definitely fall asleep. But the people here had never heard so much nonsense. At this time, when they heard Empress Wang's comments on various aspects and the prospects of the chef's industry, they admired Empress Wang from the outside. They all felt that if Empress Wang didn't say it, they would definitely not know that cooking could be related to childbirth and could be used to defend against foreign enemies. The simple people listened patiently and even felt that it was better than a direct competition. Of course, they also secretly admired the Empress. She was indeed the Empress. She knew so many things, much better than Wu Huifei. Not only were the people stunned, but Wu Huifei was also the same. She had never thought that Empress Wang, who she had always thought was very bad, could say such a thing today. It sounded very reasonable, and it was so long. What was going on? A few days ago, she just found that Empress Wang was different from before. If it was possible to compete with Empress Wang and win at that time, it would not be easy for her to compete with Empress Wang today. Once the words of Empress Wang here spread to the capital and to the emperor's ears, it would not be easy to compete with her again. Thinking of this, Wu Huifei became anxious and winked at the people around her. The people around her immediately understood what she meant and hurriedly left to gather their people. While listening to Empress Wang, they suddenly shouted, "We just want to watch the competition. What's the use of talking so much? It's better to watch the competition right now." Empress Wang was stunned for a moment. Then she said with a smile, "Since there are people who don't want to listen, then I won't say any more. The people in this world are the most important. I announce that the competition officially begins." As soon as these words were said, there were cheers from below. The people didn't know much, but they knew who was good and who was bad. Look at Empress Wang. As long as someone below shouted, she would immediately stop talking. This was what an empress should be like. The host also began to talk about the rules of the competition. First, the venue would provide materials that were commonly seen, as well as firewood. Second, if anyone wanted to use their unique materials to make something, they had to tell everyone what it was first. Otherwise, they couldn't use it. In terms of whether it was poisonous or not, it was even stricter so as to avoid poisoning people. For example, if someone wanted to make a puffer fish, this was absolutely not allowed. No matter how good one was at making a puffer fish, they were not allowed to use it in the competition. This was considered a self-selected dish, and there were also a few dishes that had to be prepared. This time, not only did the competition have to determine who had the most points and who was first, they also had to determine who was first in a certain aspect. Only then could they proceed to the next competition. In other words, it didn't matter if a chef lost in total points. As long as they won in a certain aspect, it was fine. At first, Empress Wang really didn't understand why such an arrangement was made. She asked Xiao Zhu, and Xiao Zhu went over to ask again. When Xiao Zhu returned, she said, "Empress, they said that if a person wants to be the overall champion, then in theory, as long as he is second in every competition, he has a great chance. However, in many competitions, he isn't first. So if a restaurant finds those who are first in various aspects, then naturally, they will cook better things than the person who is first in total points. But who can afford to hire so many first places? Oh, I know. The Zhang family and the Wang family want to find a chef for themselves. Empress Wang understood now. Wu Huifei was also thinking about it. She was indeed smarter than Empress Wang. After hearing the rules of the competition, she immediately said to the people around her, "No matter what price we have to pay, we must invite the person who is first in all aspects. It will be better if we can invite the person who is first in total points as well." While the two sides were calculating, the competition officially began. The reason why the Tang Empire could hold a chef's competition was that the country's tax had increased and the people's lives were gradually getting better. Even if there were still some people who were worse off than others, the overall situation was really good. However, in some places, not to mention a chef competition, it was not easy to even have a full meal every day. Han Xuanfeng's body was completely recovered now. He didn't need to take any medicine anymore. It was unknown whether it was because his body's resistance had become stronger or because he was supported by many good things. With his participation, the other people's work became easier. Zhou Meiling was still in charge of her lottery. Every time she won a lottery, she could earn between 1,600 and 2,300 strings of coins. Although it was less than the big deals of tens of thousands of strings of coins, the cycle of big deals was also longer. It wasn't something that could be done casually. The lottery was opened once every 3 days, and the winning rate was very high, reaching 60%. Once, Zhou Meiling only earned a little more than 100 strings of coins, and a lot of money was won by others. It was also because of that more and more people were willing to come and buy lottery tickets. The winners were happy, while the losers were naturally not convinced. Zhou Meiling didn't care about what others thought. Every 3 days, she would earn money from the Tubo royal family, nobles, and slave owners who had risked their lives to earn money. The Tubo people were originally quite wild. After encountering the lottery, they couldn't resist at all. Some people bought more in order to increase the winning rate. The rich people spent their own money directly, while the poor people had to think of other ways. Some people borrowed from others, some pawned things in pawn shops, and some went to gambling places to gamble. In the first half of a month, there was a person who only had 1 copper coin left. He went to the casino that Mi Fan was in charge of and earned 20 strings of coins. He bought a lottery ticket every 4 strings of coins. He bought 5 tickets in total, and all of them were from the same number. In the end, he really won and earned more than 3,000 strings of coins. If he used this money to live a normal life, he wouldn't have to worry about money for the rest of his life if he didn't go to a remote place. Unfortunately, after this person made money, he went to the casino. In the end, he was left with less than 100 strings of coins. This less than 100 strings of coins was used to buy a lottery ticket in one go. After winning a few times in a row, he was finally left with a little more than 10 strings of coins. It came and went quickly. However, many people didn't think this way. They only saw how others won the lottery and earned money from gambling, but they never thought or were unwilling to think about how much others lost. Some people even said that even though that person lost money in the end, he had played it once and enjoyed it once. It was better than someone who had never enjoyed it once. If he only cared about stability, he wouldn't have won money at the casino that time, and he wouldn't have had the courage to buy lottery tickets. When others heard this, they also thought about it. If they didn't try once, they would be poor. If they succeeded, they could enjoy it. If they lost, they would still be poor. It didn't matter. Many Tibetans had such thoughts, especially recently. Because 2 tribes had made a mistake but were unwilling to admit it before the autumn harvest, the Great Tang had stopped the trade of grain and no longer sold grain to the Tibetans. Even if they used more livestock and local specialties to trade, it was still not enough. Fortunately, there were some wild vegetables at this time. They could dig them up to satisfy their hunger. Otherwise, many people would starve to death. When such a thing happened, the Tubo people didn't complain about Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Instead, they attacked the 2 tribes that offended Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Very soon, the 2 tribes that wanted to take advantage of Songzni were annihilated by other tribes. The people of the 2 tribes were also captured and sent to Pengzhou. However, Pengzhou didn't accept the 2 people. The reason was that the two people didn't have the guts to do such a thing. There must be someone else behind the scenes. They wanted the Tubo people to tell them who was behind it. In truth, no one had ordered them to do so, but the people of Pengzhou refused to believe it. They refused to trade for food, and they refused to trade for anything else. Even if the merchants of the Great Tang wanted to trade with them, they would be stopped, and their smuggling routes would also be blocked. Without food, people could suddenly eat wild vegetables and even tree barks. However, without salt, they were sad. The price of salt kept rising, and there was no sign of it going down. If people didn't eat salt, they naturally wouldn't have strength. Even if they were slave owners, they often had to get some salt for their slaves to eat. When they saw that their slaves didn't have any strength, in addition to using their whips, the slave owners hoped that they could get more salt. At this time, Han Xianfeng, who had recovered from his illness, appeared. He had salt. After selling all the poultry, he began to use salt to buy other things in Tubo. In fact, it wasn't a secret. This time, it was a normal purchase. He bought the saffron here, which was not called that here. There was a lot of this thing now. When the people of Tubo heard that they could use this thing to exchange for salt, they went to look for it. After they finished looking for it, they went to look for it further away. Because of the preciousness of salt, the price of saffron was very low. Even so, the commoners and slave masters were willing to search for it. As people wandered further and further, of course, it became more and more chaotic. Some people found it, some didn't, some picked a lot, and some only found a little. When this happened, it was inevitable that violence would occur. In order to obtain more resources, some people didn't even pick it themselves. Instead, they formed teams and robbed others. This kind of chaos could be tolerated in Tubo, but after summer, the number of locusts in Tubo gradually increased. Not everyone could be like Yao Chong, who really commanded the people to exterminate the locusts. Many times, the people of a certain area faced the same resistance as Yao Chong when he was the first to exterminate the locusts. Not only did the people not help, they even worshipped the locusts and organized others to exterminate them. Tubo encountered such a situation. Seeing more and more locusts, the people could only pray to their gods. No one wanted to deal with the locusts. Even the poultry had to stop them when they went to eat the locusts. Seeing that the locusts were increasing and the saffron was almost finished, Han Xianfeng called Jiu Mailing and Mi Fan together. He said to the two, "Should we go back? Once this place becomes chaotic, I think we will be affected too." Mi Fan thought for a moment and nodded in agreement. "Okay, I will sell the casino tomorrow and let someone else take over. Let's leave. My lottery ticket is still making money. I made a lot of money. During this time, I've probably made 20% of Tubo's money. Can we wait a few more days?" Jiu Mailing was the one who made the most money. When he heard the two discussing leaving, he was a little reluctant. Han Xianfeng looked at Jiu Mailing helplessly. "You are no different from a gambler. If a gambler doesn't want to win more money after winning, how can they lose all their money? If you really want to stay here, then you can stay by yourself. We want to accompany you." Jiu Mailing knew that when they came here, Han Xianfeng was the leader and Mi Fan was in charge of checking the situation. Hearing Han Xianfeng say that, he unhappily said, let's go. I will sell this lottery ticket. When the time comes, we will take the money and leave together." Chapter 752. While Han Xianfeng and the other two were transporting the money back and preparing to leave, the plague of locusts in Tubo had already begun to take shape. Of course, Zhang Xiaobao had left something for Tubo to save their lives, which was the livestock. If they were commanded well, they might be able to recover some losses. However, whether or not they would use them was not up to Zhang Xiaobao to decide. This was the end of Wang Chang's revenge. What was left was to take advantage of the fact that Tubo did not have enough food after the autumn harvest to trade with them. That was another matter. After all, this place should have belonged to Great Tang. Because of its geographical relationship with other countries, Zhang Xiaobao did not want to drag things out too much. Wang had told him that Great Tang, or rather, Great Qin, had once fought with Arabia and lost miserably. Even though there were many reasons, a loss was a loss. Wang Wan was prepared to bring this war forward and personally lead the army there to see if Arabia could continue to win. Any small step on the battlefield was a large step in history. Thus, Zhang Xiaobao began a plan for Tubo, wanting to make this place belong to Great Tang as soon as possible. He did not intend to use local people to govern this place, as that would cause problems. The better method was to migrate, moving many people from Tubo to Great Tang. This was the first step, starting from agriculture. When the time came, he would use the second step, and the second step would be to slowly break down Tubo. Zhang Xiaobao also said that it was easy to bring people from Tubo to Great Tang, but the difficult part was the system. Even though Great Tang was working hard, it was still a feudal society. The people who were unwilling to change were not the slaves or the slave masters, but the nobles. This matter was more troublesome, and he would have to focus on this in the future. Han Xianfeng and the other two did not know about Zhang Xiaobao's plan. They left, bringing with them many slaves. Some were bought from nobles at large sums of money, some were exchanged with lottery tickets, and some were won from gambling. In total, there were more than 7,000 slaves. The army marched toward the Great Tang. In order to prevent others from sending soldiers to attack them, Han Xianfeng raised the flag of the seedlings after 2 days of marching. Furthermore, he had already arranged for someone to report to the Great Tang so that they could send reinforcements. This move was indeed effective. Originally, there were 4 Tubo nobles who wanted to target this group. However, when they saw the flag, 3 of them immediately backed out. They were cowardly and didn't dare to touch Han Xuanfeng's troops. However, there was one noble who didn't believe that the flag was real. He thought that someone had made a fake flag to trick him. So, when he saw that the other 3 had left, he didn't withdraw his troops. Instead, he increased the number of troops. Now, there were 6 cavalrymen and 400 infantrymen. Han Xianfeng wasn't an ordinary person. He immediately knew that someone was plotting against him. It wasn't easy for 1,000 people to deal with 7,000 people. He understood that the other party knew that the slaves on his side had just been gathered and weren't very united yet. Therefore, when Mi Fan kept saying that she hadn't been feeling well recently, Han Xianfeng, who was the leader, showed his ability. His family was a family of officials. He knew very well how to win people's hearts. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been sent here. On this day, when Mi Fan found him and said that she was having trouble breathing, Han Xianfeng stopped the army. The 7,000 slaves formed a large circle. Han Xianfeng stood in the middle of the circle and shouted at the slaves, "Do you know who I am?" The slaves didn't know who Han Xianfeng was. After disguising himself and speaking fluent Tubo, Han Xianfeng was just another slave master from Tubo. The only difference was that this slave master was nicer to them. He was also very smart and knew how to make a fake flag of the logistics camp in Idyll to trick them. Perhaps he could guess what the slaves were thinking. Han Xianfeng continued to shout, "Do you think I'm from Tubo?" Some of the slaves nodded, some were confused, and some stared at Han Xianfeng, waiting for him to continue. "Wrong, I'm not from Tubo. Don't think that I can speak Tubo. Do you see that flag? That's the flag of the logistics camp in Idyll, but that flag isn't mine." Han Xianfeng continued to shout. The Tubo slaves looked like they knew it. Some even muttered softly. Most of them thought to themselves, "If I knew, you were just lying to others." Can you say it all at once? Look at the people around you. They're about to lose their confidence. Mi Fan covered her chest with her hand and said to Han Xianfeng unhappily, "I'll say it all now." Han Xianfeng observed Mi Fan's expression and knew that there was going to be big trouble. Mi Fan was like this. She was very sensitive to danger. According to the young master and young lady, it was her 6th sense. It was an existence that was beyond the 5 senses. It was very magical. Han Xianfeng nodded to Mi Fan and took out another flag. He opened it and said to the slaves, "This is my flag. Do you see Dao Miao wearing black clothes and a black hat? I am the person in charge of spying for the Zhang family and the Wang family in Sanshui County of Tang Dynasty. My code name is Dark Knight." The slaves' eyes suddenly widened. They thought that Han Xianfeng would say which noble he was. They didn't expect him to take out another flag and say that he was from the Zhang family and the Wang family in Sanshui County. Hearing that, they didn't think he was lying. But even if the slaves were willing to accept Han Xuanfeng's identity, they were still worried that he would lie. They looked at Mi Fan and Jiu Mailing. Jiu Mailing spoke first. "Don't look at me. I joined later. I'm not from the Zhang family and the Wang family. Look at him. Mi Fan is from Sanshui County Zhang family and the Wang family in Sky Team. He's in charge of special situations." While Jiu Mailing was speaking, Mi Fan took out her own flag and put on her own unique symbol. She was the captain of Sky Team. She had people who raised eagles and dogs. "What are you doing here?" One of the bolder slaves asked the three of them. "Why are we here?" "Of course we're here to take revenge on Zhang Xiaobao's order. Tubo sent people to make trouble there. How can our young master let Tubo go just because they attacked him once? This time, we're here to take revenge. But our young master doesn't want to hurt too many Tubo people. That's why he wants us to buy as many slaves as possible. When you get to the Tang Empire, you won't be slaves anymore. You'll be farmers. Although farmers have to listen to their masters, there's a difference between farmers and slaves. As long as a farmer has enough money, he can leave the master's family. It's just that Zhang family and the Wang family don't want to leave even if they have more money. In the Tang Empire, your lives will be 100 times better than now. You won't have to worry about food or clothes. You won't have to rest for less than 6 hours a day. When you have your own children, you can even send them to school to study. Right now, the opportunity is right in front of you. Someone wants to keep us in Tubo. Are you prepared to fight for a better life in the Tang Empire or continue to suffer in Tubo? Make your choice." Han Xianfeng shouted at the slaves. At the same time, he stared at a few spots in the crowd. After he finished shouting, the slaves still didn't know how to choose. They didn't trust Han Xianfeng. If they chose to fight back, they might die. At this moment, someone in the crowd shouted, "Master, now that you mention it, I remember that I've heard her name before. You're really from the Zhang family and the Wang family of Sanshui County. You're Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. I don't know what kind of economic war Zhang Xiaobao won, but I remember Demon Fiend Cuckoo. I'm willing to follow you back to the Tang Empire. I've heard that the people of the Tang Empire are living well, especially the Zhang family and the Wang family. I've decided that from now on, if anyone wants me to return to Tubo, I'll fight with my life on the line." As soon as this person finished shouting, another person started to shout. More and more people started to shout from the other side. The other slaves were also moved by the shouts. Each and every one of them felt that they had a goal in their hearts. Seeing this situation, Han Xianfeng and the others let out a sigh of relief. They had been the ones to call out the slaves, afraid that the slaves wouldn't cooperate. Seeing so many people follow suit, Han Xianfeng knew that even if the other side had 1,000 armed people, they wouldn't be able to beat 7,000 people. "You really know how to lie. Look at them. They think you're telling the truth," Jiu Mailing said to Han Xianfeng. Han Xianfeng paused, looked at Jiu Mei, and coldly replied, "I'm telling the truth. I'm not lying to anyone. The young master really wants to do this. He doesn't want everyone to be slaves. Slaves don't need to be paid, and they don't need to pay rent. However, slaves don't need to work as hard as farmers." "Really? He's that kind?" "Slaves, you just need to feed them." Jiu Mailing hadn't met Zhang Xiaobao before. Her impression of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family came from other sources. She was especially upset that she didn't get admitted to the hospital during the exam. "Of course it's true. Why would I lie to you? Let's see if they can fight against the people chasing after us," Han Xianfeng said. He looked at the slaves and continued shouting, "Don't worry. As long as you escape this time, you'll have a good life. Otherwise, you'll continue to be bullied. You won't be able to eat or dress well. Even if you find a good woman, those Tubo nobles will take her to their houses and enjoy her before you can take her. If you're a man, you should act like a man and protect your woman. You can't be bullied when you're about to be together. If you're a woman, you should think about whether you'll have a good life in the future. As long as you go to Tang, not only will you be able to eat and dress well, but you'll also have all kinds of cosmetics and mirrors." In order to make the slaves love each other, Han Xianfeng was willing to do anything. He even talked about cosmetics and used women to inspire men's courage. At this time, Mi Fan suddenly said to Han Xianfeng, "Let's go. I'm fine. I feel very comfortable now. I think there will be a change soon." "What change?" Zhou Meiling asked. "How would I know? Anyway, there will be a change." Mi Fan didn't say anything else after replying. He indeed didn't feel as uncomfortable as before. He even felt that his breathing was more comfortable than usual. Hearing Mi Fan's words, Han Xianfeng could only choose to believe him. He gave some orders and continued to lead the 7,000 slaves. There weren't many tents. Only the 3 of them had 2 tents. They didn't have much luggage either. When they left, they let the slaves carry the rations themselves. The slaves were used to sleeping and resting in the wild. They didn't care about tents at all. Therefore, the group moved faster. They were still 3 days away from Jinchuan, and the 1,000 people behind them also sped up. Before they could catch up, 100 cavalrymen appeared in front of Han Xianfeng and the others. There were also a few eagles flying in the sky. Although there weren't many of them, after seeing the riders, Han Xianfeng finally collapsed. He said to Zhou Meiling, "Help me up. I can't take it anymore. If you want to die, die far away. Don't die in front of me," Zhou Meiling said coldly, but she still helped Han Xianfeng up. The riders didn't stop. They rushed to the back of the slave group. Seeing the flags of the riders, the slaves believed Han Xianfeng's words. The flags belonged to the Chamber of Commerce. There were also seedlings on them. "Let's go. Let's go back." Han Xianfeng waved his hand and rode forward. The slaves, who were originally running out of strength, did not know where they found the strength to run again. Their faces were full of yearning for the future, and they ran quickly. After half an hour, the 100 cavalrymen also encountered the 1,000 people who were chasing after the group of slaves. The 100 cavalrymen stopped their horses and stayed where they were without saying a word, nor did they show their weapons. But even so, the people on the other side all stopped in their tracks. When the 1,000 people were in position, the captain of the 100 cavalrymen shouted to the other side, "The 7,000 slaves in front of us are the people that our young master and young lady want." After saying this, the 100 cavalrymen turned their horses around and chased after the group of slaves. The 1,000 people sent by the other nobles looked at each other. They didn't know what to do. They thought about the 2 tribes that had been destroyed by the other nobles. In the end, they didn't dare to chase. While Han Xianfeng met a benefactor and saved the group from danger, Heng Yiwei also met a benefactor in Baoxing County. At least, that was what he said. He was the county magistrate of Xian Kai County, the one with the surname Yan. After he took over the position in the county, he read the proposal brought back by Li Linfu. He had originally decided to live a peaceful life, but in the end, he couldn't control the thoughts in his heart. He took a leave of absence from the county and ran to Baoxing County. He Yiwei was currently in the Yamen receiving County Magistrate Yan, who claimed to be a benefactor. He Yiwei didn't receive him in his study, nor the signing room. Instead, he received him in the room where he usually received commoners. Here, he could speak freely and wouldn't arouse suspicion. "County Magistrate Yan, you came all the way from Xian Kai County. I'm very touched. Have you eaten lunch? Why don't we eat together?" Yiwei didn't believe in benefactors. If there really was one, it definitely wasn't County Magistrate Yan. It was Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He asked County Magistrate Yan if he had eaten on purpose. He came all the way here, and it wasn't even noon yet. How could he have eaten lunch? County Magistrate Yan also heard the sense of distance in He Yiwei's words, but he didn't care. It wasn't like he hadn't encountered such a person before. In the end, he still dealt with him. Thus, he nodded and followed He Yiwei's words. "Then I'll have to trouble you. County Magistrate He, I really haven't eaten." "Good. Someone, bring up the food used to receive guests. It's the kind that is usually served to commoners." County Magistrate He didn't lack a meal. Since the other party wanted to stay and eat, then let him eat. He ordered the people standing outside the door. The reason why he said the food was for commoners was because he was afraid that there weren't enough commoners today and they wouldn't be able to finish it. Whether it was throwing it away or letting others eat more, it wasn't worth it. County Magistrate Yin didn't know. When he heard Yiwei's words, he was puzzled. Why was there a provision for commoners to eat? Since when did the Yamen have such a rule? Then he understood. It must be because Yiwei didn't want to treat him well, so he gave such an order. Every county magistrate would always give a secret signal to his subordinates when he gave an order. It was estimated that this meal would not taste good. Thinking about this in his heart, County Magistrate Yin, who had been treated coldly before, didn't care. It was just a bad meal. As long as Yiwei could eat it, then he could eat it too. If it was divided into plates, then he could take what was on Yiwei's plate. What would Yiwei do? He changed the plate for Yiwei too. May I know why County Lieutenant Yin is here this time? Yiwei didn't ask about the important person. Instead, he asked about something else. County Magistrate Yin pretended to smile mysteriously and said to Yiwei, "Don't you know you're in big trouble?" "What do you mean?" Yiwei suddenly became nervous and asked, "Do you know what this place is?" County Magistrate Yin didn't answer, but asked another question. "Is the feng shui bad?" Yiwei said in that direction. County Magistrate Yin was still smiling. No, it has nothing to do with feng shui. It's a matter of money. Your Wuxin County is not normal now. Think about it. How much money can you make now? How much was it before? You're the county magistrate of such a good place. Are the others convinced? You're not convinced? Yiwei asked. Of course I'm convinced. What am I? But if someone's ability is great, will they also be convinced? If it's just a little money, it's fine. The main thing is that many officials here are studying here. You're taking advantage of this. Do you think others won't make trouble for you? Plus, you told the people how much money the county has. If you do this, won't the other counties learn from you? If they learn, then they won't be able to keep their greedy share. If they don't learn, then what's the point of being an official? Do you understand? County Magistrate Yin analyzed Yiwei like an expert. Yiwei's face finally changed and became very ugly. County Magistrate Yin thought his words had moved Yiwei. When he was about to continue, Yiwei waved his hand and said to County Magistrate Yin, "Thank you for your concern, County Magistrate Yin. Like you said, I won't be here for long. I'll leave after the autumn harvest and let someone else take over. Do you know where I'm going?" "Where?" County Magistrate Yin asked, puzzled. "I don't know. Come, the food is here. Eat first." Yiwei originally wanted to tell County Lieutenant Yin not to think that his side was bad and that his future was smooth, but when he was about to say it, he hesitated. Coincidentally, the servants brought the food over and invited him to eat. County Magistrate Yin still wanted to ask more questions, but when he saw someone bring the food over, he had to shut his mouth and stared at the food. He wanted to see what Yiwei was going to use to trick him. But when he saw the food, County Magistrate Yin was stunned. There were 2 dishes and a soup. The dishes were scrambled eggs with chives and bean sprouts with meat. The soup was spinach soup with a layer of oil on top. There were also 2 pieces of fermented bean curd and 2 pieces of stinky tofu. There was also a plate of radish strips and pickles. The main dish was a cake made of rice flour and rice flour. Before County Magistrate Yin could ask, Yiwei said, "This place is used to entertain the people. Sometimes the people live far away and come here early in the morning. It's either noon or night. We can't let them starve, so we ask people to prepare some food in advance every day. It's a pity to leave it here. Why don't we eat it? We don't prepare much every day. If more people come, we will ask people to make more for them. This stinky tofu is the best. If you came yesterday, you could eat the salted stinky egg. I can eat 2 bowls of rice with half a salted egg. Try this dish." While speaking, Yiwei ate first. He used his chopsticks to pick up some stinky tofu and put it in his mouth. He took a bite of the cake and enjoyed it very much. County Magistrate Yin didn't know what to do. When Yiwei took a second bite, he used his chopsticks to pick up a piece of scrambled eggs with chives and put it in his mouth. The taste was very ordinary. It wasn't particularly delicious, but it wasn't bad either. County Magistrate Yin didn't understand why County Magistrate Yin would prepare food for the people. He felt that it was better to take care of his own business first. He drank 2 mouthfuls of the soup and said to Yiwei, "Do you want to not be envied by others and still be able to make money? You see, what you're doing is wrong. You are giving food to the people, but aren't you afraid that the people will come here every day to eat? What will the officials of the surrounding counties think if they know about this? Hiwei didn't want to talk to County Magistrate Yin, but he saw that County Magistrate Yin was not going to give up. He put down his chopsticks and asked humbly, "What can County Magistrate Yin teach me?" "Sigh, that's the right thing to do. It's good that you know you're wrong. Come, I'll tell you a way so that you don't have to offend anyone and can earn money for yourself. These words have entered your ears from my mouth. If you tell anyone else, I won't admit it." County Magistrate Yin put on a look of educating others and whispered into Hiwei's ear, "You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.